The live Sunday edition of the program. As always, you're invited to join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Coming up a little bit later on in the show tonight, we will be talking to Will Coley from Muslims for Liberty, Muslims, the number 4liberty.org. He has made the move to New Hampshire as part of the New Hampshire Freedom Migration. And we're looking forward to bringing him in here because he's going to be launching his show from Keene, New Hampshire later on tonight. We're going to announce some pretty cool news about his fundraiser for the upcoming MALIC Center, the very first full-time mosque in all of New Hampshire, and what may be the very first mosque in North America that will accept cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. So there's a lot of that to talk about tonight. Also, speaking of Bitcoin, somebody brought up this Jamie Dimon character again on last night's show.
Okay.
And of course, our phones were, wall-to-wall calls toward the latter half of the show, and we didn't really get a chance.
It's hard to explore things on a Saturday night.
It is. And so we didn't really get a chance to talk about in depth what this chief executive officer of J.P. Morgan Chase, one of the largest banks in the United States by both locations and assets. It's a huge bank. This guy, Jamie Dimon, has come out again and attacked Bitcoin, the world's most popular cryptocurrency, the world's first and most popular and incredible cryptocurrency.
Given his opinion on Bitcoin.
No, he's attacked it. I mean, He definitely does not like Bitcoin, and he wants to see it fail, and he wants to see the government take it down. So we'll play some of his comments for you as well. Plus, if we get the chance, we'll talk about the dying old media like cable television and magazines. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE like freedom. As we go to CNBC, where executive Jamie Dimon from Chase Bank has laid into Bitcoin once again. So it was like, I don't know, earlier in the week when he made headlines for attacking Bitcoin, then that, made it so some of the financial news press wanted to talk to him about Bitcoin more.
Sure.
Because here's an old guy who works at a bank that, doesn't like this new upstart cryptocurrency.
Controversy. I smell blood in the water.
All right. And so now they've talked to him again, and he's talked more about his opinions about Bitcoin. He has warned, in fact, that governments will shut them down if they grow too large. I'm going to play some of the audio here from the interview from CNBC TV18 in New Delhi. So this is an international story about this Dimon guy, or Dimon. I guess Dimon is how you spell his last name. Here's the audio.
Done something with the Bitcoin exchange, but so to separate, blockchain is a technology. It can be used for multiple things, including cryptocurrency. It can be used for digital dollars, and there are digital dollars already. Like a lot of the dollars held in our bank are digital, and so separate the technology. What I've said about Bitcoin is a country's form of currency. You have a wonderful currency. Yes. When you formed your nation in 1947, one of the first things you did is create a central bank with a currency, and that currency is part of your national heritage because on the back it's got the 17 or 19 languages.
Okay, so here he's appealing to that sensation that we talked about last night, where people look at the flag in the United States, the patriotism or nationalism,
right.
That, well, you guys have such a great currency. He's talking about India. Is that the rupee? I believe is what
Sounds
it's
right.
called there. Yes, you guys have such a great currency. Look at all the things that you've placed on the back. You have a central bank, and it made all these beautiful notes with all these wonderful inscriptions, and my, it's so beautiful. As though that makes it better or somehow superior currency to cryptocurrency, which is by far a more superior form of currency.
It's technologically superior form of money. And
right, it's circa 2009 instead of circa whenever the hell paper money came out, however many hundreds of years ago that was.
Thousands. Yeah, I mean, and to some extent, money, as we were talking about last night on the show, when we were discussing Trump, berating athletes for taking a knee, is that, look, it's smoke and mirrors, people. This country is losing freedoms year after year, decade after decade, spending your great-grandchildren's inheritance, because quite frankly, they've already spent yours, your children's, and your grandchildren's, spending your great-grandchildren's inheritance while you worry about whether or not black people stand up for your favorite song. That's just that's the epitome of ignorance that comes with this whole citizenship thing. the currency also is wrapped up in this because the currency is the government. Now, the United States currency isn't actually issued by the government.
It's issued by the Federal Reserve.
It's issued
quasi-private.
Right, a private organization of banks, which the Treasury then orders currency from, but
at a loan, basically, with interest.
Loan. That's the mortgaging your great grandchildren's future I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you don't know about this stuff, stop worrying about athletes standing up during the pledge and learn about it.
This is a much more important issue. That's a great point.
Yeah, it's an incredibly important issue.
Who controls the money is very, very important. Was it Rockefeller, one of those guys who said, I care not who Rothschild, I care not who controls the money, or care not who controls the government so long as I control the money.
Right. He just said, I don't care if Stalin's in charge. I don't care if Hitler's in charge, as long as I'm in charge of the central bank. A central banker said that. Can you imagine for a second what kind of power central banks have? How they manage to get the stuff done that they want done?
It's the most insidious power of taxation. I mean, rather than just imagining it, we can paint somewhat of a picture because your typical tax is some sort of bill that you receive or some store that's imposing a sales tax on you or whatever. You're easily able to look at the numbers in a lot of cases with taxes. But with inflation, when the central banks of the world, Venezuela, the United States, you name it, there have been a long history of failed central banks. U.S. hasn't failed yet, but it's on the process. They all fail eventually.
Every fiat currency has to fail.
So when they take the amount of currency that's in circulation and they inflate that amount, then that usually results in certain consequences like the price of things going up. That's one of the symptoms of inflation. It's not actual inflation. Inflation is the increase of the money supply, which is what the central banks, one of their main roles is to inflate the money supply so the government gets that money. They're the first recipients of that money, and then they spend it in whatever ways they do, maybe with the military-industrial complex, buying boots and tanks and things like that, or maybe with some other government programs that they're spending it on and their contractors and so forth. So the politically connected class of like the military, contractors, others that know politicians and get along well with them and have given them lots of money over time, they get these contracts that has this new money attached to it, and then it starts filtering into the rest of the economy.
It doesn't always go that way. So when you saw the quantitative easing that went on during the economic downturn.
You mean where they gave money to big banks and
right. The
car
money
companies?
didn't go to the government. It went directly to the big banks.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to imagine, Mr. and Mrs. America, what it would have been like instead of handing out hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't have the numbers sitting in front of me. I'm just coming off of the top of my head, Bear, but I'm guessing it's hundreds of billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. What if instead... Now, the complaint was the banks were taking the money and holding it and not lending it out. Remember what it was like trying to get a loan back in 2010? Things weren't so easy. What would it have been like if the government would have issued the money and just handed it out in the form of cash to citizenry? Like, what would it have been like? What if you would have just taken this money and given every American, and I haven't done what hundreds of billions of dollars into 300 million people is, but, a stack of $1,000 or $3,000 or whatever it might be. Do you think that money would have gotten spent, or do you think that they would have hoarded it?
They'd spend it.
Right. If the velocity of money was what was the concern was, and you have to worry about those things.
The concern was to save their politically connected brethren.
That's what it's about.
The banks and the car companies.
Acted irresponsibly, so the banks needed a bunch of money.
Well, the banks just did what they were incentivized to do. I mean, the federal government, the Federal Reserve, made it very attractive to just print money from thin air and loan it out to people. And, so they just figured this was going to go on forever, I guess, and it didn't. But regardless, when the government inflates the money supply, it's an insidious hidden tax because the price of everything goes up and the government still gets more money to spend. So it's hard to really, for the average person, to look at inflation and understand. But if you think about like the amount of groceries your $100 has been able to purchase over, decade over decade, it's gone down over time.
Dramatically.
Right? So there are ways to look at it over the long term, to have perspective, to see how inflation has damaged your spending power and your quality of life. But day to day, you can't really see it. You have to be able to look back over time. So anyway, we'll get back into Jamie Dimon's comments, his attack on Bitcoin, and you can join us and bring up anything.
If you want to promote your business, organization, website, or club, radio's a great way to reach a lot of people. And because the ads are low cost, you can reach them a lot more often. Repetition builds reputation, and ads with audio are just more convincing than print or digital. If you need local people, please contact this station. If you can sell nationally, I'd love to help. Free Talk Live is nationally syndicated on more than 170 radio stations, and we have a large and loyal podcast audience. Check out our packages at advertise.freetalklive.com. If you need something custom, contact me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click Tips, Tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can join us right here on the radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. If you want the newest and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty, you ought to check out freedomsphoenix.com. They have a daily dispatch that they'll send to your email box, and that's the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. It's Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. Freedoms, Phoenix. We can talk more about the old guard, the old bankers attack. In this case, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase on the attack again against Bitcoin. You know, you don't take flak unless you're over the target. These guys are getting nervous, I think, about the cryptocurrency threat to their oligopoly, and we're going to talk more about it. Ian and Mark in the studio. Let's go to your calls and thoughts, though, where we go to Skype and David on the line in New Mexico. David, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. This actually ties a little bit into what you're talking about. You're basically talking about the government essentially stealing wealth from the people, and I wanted to give you one more piece of the puzzle that I'm dealing with here in New Mexico. Okay. And remembering under the category that the state of New Mexico has been labeled in the past as the most corrupt state in the nation.
I thought that was Mississippi, but yeah, I mean, it's probably a tight race.
Yeah, well, New Mexico and Mississippi are neck and neck for last in everything good that's measured. And so that's one. And Alaska is also known as for corruption, and so is Illinois, and I suppose New York.
I've heard Rhode Island and Hawaii, and well, of course all states are corrupt. But so it's a tight race for which is the worst. But go ahead with your point.
Yeah, exactly. The last place that I had left everyone is that I was trying to get information out of a state agency, the administrative office of the courts in this instance, and the ladies in the office there were, for whatever reason.
Can you do me a favor? I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you back off your microphone? You're popping your P's pretty hard, and it's a little distorted. So if you don't mind.
How's that now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I was being obstructed getting information. I managed to solve that problem by when a guy that I know that's high up in the government got wind of what was going on. He went over and had a talk with them, and then instantly, magically, they started taking my calls. I got my information. I was able to move on.
It's all about who you know.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where I left you. I wanted to share what this is all about. This is a court-appointed attorney of mine, not in a criminal case, but in a case where I'm fighting over my children, and because there's a hostile attempt to terminate my parental rights and adopt my kids to the stepfather, there's a statute written that requires that they provide me with an attorney. Okay. And so that's the context in which this guy is an attorney. So, and what happened was a year ago, basically this time last year, this guy was appointed, and I immediately gave him the notice that I'm in the habit of giving all of these attorneys, having learned the hard way that they're really not working for me. They're actually working to get money and preserve their status within the system of being a court-appointed attorney, which keeps the revenue coming to them. They more serve the court than they serve me. And so I immediately gave the guy a notice that an actual legal notice that I allege that he is actually part of the child trafficking ring that is the state government in the state of New Mexico.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
Well, it sounds like you don't want his services. Do they force him upon you, or can you say, no thanks, I'll go pro se?
No, I have a choice. I have a choice, but I want the attorney. But what I'm doing is I'm giving him an actual legal notice that I am wise to the fact that this game is rigged. And yes, I want the services of attorney, but you need to be advised in a legal sense that you are actually working with what I consider to be a racketeering outfit, because in the future I'm going to be filing various lawsuits against all the different players. And so an attorney that works for me had better darn well make sure that they are working for me and not for the state.
So how did it go when you delivered this notice to him? Because I agree with Mark that that could be a little off-putting.
Yeah, well, it is a little off-putting, and that's what. So what he said immediately was that he was quitting, that he was withdrawing from the case, which is fine because they're required by statute to line up the next attorney that I'll give that same notice to.
So is this drawing out the proceedings? Is that the idea? Or are you trying to find one that'll actually, tolerate kind of the insult, if you will?
Right, exactly. So it draws it out, and I have to reasonably accept that it's going to draw it out. If I tell an attorney something that they object to and they have the right to quit and they quit, then it's going to be delaying the implementation of an attorney that will continue to work with me. So I have to accept that part. But here's what the dude did that's embezzling. What he did is he gave me a written notice that he was quitting. And then he never submit his resignation to the court. A few months later, I discovered that, and I started calling people on it. And
is the idea that if he doesn't submit the resignation to the court, that they'll pay him on a certain interval?
Exactly. He gets paid it. He gets paid every month.
So whether or not he's actually standing in a courtroom or filing things for you, he's getting a paycheck just for being on file as your attorney.
Exactly. And so what he did is he told me he quit, but he never told the court that he quit until he was called on it several times.
At least he's screwed. Well, it doesn't matter.
And you have him saying in writing that he quit before he actually.
Yes, I have it in writing myself. And the court he finally submitted it in writing, in court in an oral motion. He finally asked to be withdrawn from the case on July 11th of this year after this other thing went down this time last year, and the court granted his excusal. But 2 months later, or July 11th till now, whatever that is, the dude still has not filed the order to be signed by the judge. So he's still on the payroll. The judge said, "Fine, write up an order, and I'll sign it. You'll be excused." And he's still been collecting this money.
He
hasn't done it.
David, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate the story. The toll-free number here is 855-450 free like freedom, and that's
I don't call them liars where I come from for nothing.
Yeah, that's it's a little taste, I guess, of the massive fraud that's going on, right? Because that's just one example of how one attorney is taking advantage of his position in that one place, right?
I think he's just busy, Ian.
The toll-free number here is 855-450 free like freedom. Well, if that's the case, then I would say David could motion the judge to order the attorney to pay back whatever it was that he received in funds in that time frame.
I suspect they could do just that, yes.
Yeah. So if he was too busy, then, he shouldn't be getting the paycheck.
No big deal, right?
So anyway, the toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450 free like freedom. And again, that's attorneys are another set of old guard that is going to be threatened by things like cryptocurrency. And,
I hope he hasn't spent that money.
And also not just cryptocurrency, but blockchain technology, which, as we've seen from some of the interviews we've done, blockchain being the tech that backs up Bitcoin. It's this immutable, decentralized ledger, a public ledger in this case, in the case of Bitcoin. Some people have talked about how blockchain can help with things like contracts and wills and identification and other things that typically you might look to an attorney to help you with. So the idea is that maybe blockchain technology could help put some attorneys out of business as well. So you better believe they're going to be lining up against as much of this as they possibly can.
I did an interview with a company, Consensus actually is the name of the company, that's working with the government of Mauritius, attempting to work with the government of Mauritius to essentially blockchainize their governmental processes to increase efficiency. So that's interesting.
We have more on the way. You can share your thoughts with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live continues in moments. You take control.
In an emergency, you need a fire now. But what if the wood is wet? No problem for InstaFire. Our non-toxic fire starter packs light wet wood, can even burn on water or in any weather, sustains winds up to 30 miles per hour, and each pouch weighs only 1.75 ounces. Need an emergency stove? Get the InstaFire Inferno stove that boils water in under 3 minutes. Temps up to 1,500 degrees. Free shipping on anything. Go to instafire.com/radio specials and get yours today. InstaFire. Fire in an instant. Instafire.com/radio specials.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Free Talk Live.
One of the counselor's excuses for her behavior after call accused her of engaging in stealing. This is stealing. You're taking something from somebody who believed they owned something, and by all evidence did own something. You're taking it from them. And as you say, Mark, this goes on all across the country. They're called tax sales or tax deeds. Whenever people drop back in not being able to pay property taxes, in this case, it's because of the down economy. These people are having a tough time. At one point, she got very frustrated, and she said, well, it's not stealing because it's That's the law. So apparently when the law says you can take something that's not yours, it's not stealing. And now all the law is, as you pointed out, you talk about the Constitution that's supposed to be the highest law of the land. The law is just words on paper written down by men and women. Some of them signed their names to it, but most of us, in fact 99.999% of us, never signed anything in regards to their laws.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. Coincap.io. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free. Join us on the radio and talk about whatever's on your mind on this live Sunday edition. It's Ian here.
And Mark.
Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733, and you may Skype in. Join us. Skype username is LRN.FM.
Are you getting 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day? If you are, you're one of a very elite crew, about 1% of the U.S. population that manages to pull that off. And for those of you that do pull it off, it protects you against obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and gives you enough antioxidants to neutralize all 5 of the known free radicals. These are worthy goals, and I've been trying over the course of the last month to get in all 10 servings. Now, I'm eating more fruits and vegetables than normal because I'm cognizant of this, but I'm also taking Fruit and Veggie Total from the makers of Whole Food Multi-Complete. So you can call it cheating if you want, but I'm getting my servings. You can too. Please join me in this worthy goal to eat better, lose weight, live longer, and feel good. Go to simplifymysupplements.com and buy Fruit and Veggie Total. Use the coupon code FTL to save 10% on your order, anytime. They'll give you a free shaker bottle, too. Those things are valuable. SimplifyMySupplements.com. They do take Bitcoin, by the way. And use coupon code FTL.
All right, let's go to your calls and thoughts. Scott in Massachusetts. He is Scott the Bigot. Scott, go ahead. You're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, good evening, Mark and Ian. How are you?
I feel bad for any other Scott ever calls us from Massachusetts because we're going to jump to a conclusion, and that won't be very nice. But anyway, go ahead, Scott, because it is you.
You know, these black athletes and their white counterparts that refuse to stand for the national anthem. Now, I know your feelings about not standing for the national anthem, for the flag, and I hate a lot what America stands for too. But they need to stand for the flag, for the national anthem, not because they have a right to hate America, but I'm talking about just respecting the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who died, and many of them were
Don't
black.
you? Isn't that kind of a contradictory position to what
No.
you've said on the air before, which is that you hate America?
Yes, but let me explain. I hate America, but the soldiers, sailors, and airmen and Marines, a lot of them are poor boys. They come from southern towns. They're backward. They're poor. It's not their fault that America's so rotten. And they fight. And so if I was at a sporting event, I would stand not in allegiance of America, but merely out of respect for them who died.
This is
That's
one of the
why
things I
stand.
dislike about the flags and anthems and all this stuff.
It means something different to everybody.
Because it means something different to everybody.
Yeah.
So you may, as Scott says, hate America, but choose to stand for the national anthem because you respect the sacrifices of some people that were tricked into fighting wars for politicians' sake, throughout
so ultimately,
the history.
it looks like you support America when you stand for the national
Right,
anthem.
that's what it communicates to people.
Yeah, at least it should.
I rephrase that. I stand for the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and
But
Marines.
you're not explaining that to anybody. You're not turning to the person next to you and saying, just so you know, I'm only standing for the soldiers and the airmen.
I don't care what they stand for. I know what I'm standing for, and America is rotten in many regards. Now, as far as these black athletes go, yes, they've suffered discrimination, racism, and slavery in America. But what gets me angry is that
And you want to bring that back. You want to bring that back. You want to make it
on a guilt trip.
What?
White people are always being put on a guilt trip.
I don't
for
feel
slavery,
guilty.
racism, and discrimination.
I wasn't there. I wasn't involved
I know,
in it.
and I wasn't either. But yet that's
But
what
you
blacks
want to
are
enslave? Do you want to enslave people? Again?
No. What I want is I want white people in this country not to become 10th-rate citizens, and that's what they're coming. They're
By what
becoming
evidence?
Through horrible affirmative action laws, through
But affirmative action laws only affect government contractors and people like that, right? Government hiring,
but there's
quotas.
also in the sense that
Maybe
blacks
colleges.
have made a lot of gains where whites have not. A lot of whites are timid in the fact that they're afraid that if they speak up for their rights, they'll be perceived as racist.
It's sad listening.
What rights do blacks have that whites don't?
What rights do blacks have that whites don't?
Well, you just made a claim that blacks are, demanding all these rights, and that whites are timid. I tend to see.
Well, they get jobs. They get jobs where white people should get them because white people are more capable than they are.
It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous statement. If I'm hiring somebody, I'm going to hire the best capable person for that job. I'm not going to be looking at their skin color. And your statements, again, are fallacious because they are based out of groups. You know, you're saying whites are this and blacks are this, and that's just not true. And anybody with a thinking brain should know that individuals are the ones who achieve or fail. It has nothing to do with the groups of which they are a part. Thank you for the call tonight, Scott. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, and looks like that was our Skype caller with a slight call difficulty there. We'll see if we can get back to that person a little bit later. If you want to Skype in, our Skype username is LRN.FM. And again, Ian and Mark here in the studio tonight. We were talking about J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, who has gone on the attack against Bitcoin again. And this time, we've got some audio from the folks over at CNBC. We're going to give that a play for you here in moments, but we're going to try Bad Slave on the line in New Hampshire. I think we may have a better connection now if we're lucky. Go ahead, Bad Slave.
Howdy.
Yep, we got you. Go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call, Mark and
Yes,
Ian. Listen, I just listen to Scott, and I actually agree with Scott on certain things. That there is a cabal of folk, and some of them are Zionists, I think. But they're I call them the banksters because I think there are people in the international banking system that is that actually is part of the U.S. military's effort to expand that fiat money system.
It's pretty clear that, if you're in the sort of international banking community, those people who control the World Bank and these sorts of the Federal Reserve and these sorts of organizations, that you're going to want to see fiat currency propagated around the globe. You're also going to want to see, quote unquote, stable governments. Stable governments aren't necessarily free. They're just stable, and these sorts of things. I'm not going to disagree with that. What I'm mainly concerned with Scott is that he is deeply concerned about the ethnicity of those people.
Yeah, and I think that's a bunch of bull. But it's just collectivism. You engage in collectivism, and you've stepped over a line.
By you mean Scott the bigot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I whether it's a Jew, an Israeli, even a Zionist. I was engaging with someone who claimed to be a Zionist on Facebook, he denied the USS Liberty attack. That was just a mistake. Yeah, right.
Well, that's the story, right? What are you going to do? How can that's the argument, right? It's like when you get into the minutia of these things, is what happened with the USS Liberty? Do mistakes happen when one's on a warship? They must.
Yeah, but there were people that are still alive that watched what happened, and they know that the claim that the Israelis make is crap. I'm sorry, it just is. And I've studied this. There's there's new data out and everything about what really happened, because they buried it, by the way. The U.S. government buried the whole story.
These stories, unless they want them to be a big story, tend to get buried, right? I mean, almost no American remembers. I think it was in 1989 when the United States government shot down an Iranian passenger plane, killed hundreds of Iranian citizens, and no American knows that stuff.
Thanks, Bad Slave, for the call. There's more coming up here. You can join us live Sunday show with Free Talk Live, 855 450 free, like freedom. It's Free Talk Live. We're here for you.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information, so pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and with you in the studio, it's Ian
and Mark.
You can join us here at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Live Sunday edition of the show. Still to come here tonight, more about the attack on Bitcoin from JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon. And your calls and thoughts, welcome as well. If we get the chance, we can talk about the perhaps impending doom of the magazine industry. But first, let's go to Kelly, listening in Springfield, Missouri, to KWTO AM. Hey, Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome. You're on the radio. We're doing great. Go ahead.
Hey, I agree with a lot of things that you say, but I want to take a different take on this Trump episode with the NFL. You know, as the CEO of this country, President Trump has every right to have buyer's remorse on the advertising dollars that was spent before he showed up and the current ones that are being spent on the NFL. A lot of people believe that these colors being shown and the flags coming out and the ceremonials and all of that are free. In 2015, I read that they spent $53 million in sport events, not just the NFL, but in sporting events.
Who spent it? The government?
Yeah, the government. You haven't seen this?
If they, the Defense Department. The DOJ, the Defense Department. And my thing is if they're going to spend this kind of money and get this kind of results, they need to pull all their money out. Not including the fact that most of these stadiums get bonds and tax breaks to put their stadiums up and everything else. So I say do this. I say, okay, let the NFL do what they want. Let them sit all day long, but let the government pull out 100%.
Okay, I support that. But can I also pull out of the government too? Can I pull all the money that they've taken from me out?
Well, we've got people doing that all the time. It's called not paying your taxes. You have every choice to do that. In fact, we in Missouri believe that there are many laws that support that you don't need to pay your taxes at all. But that's totally up to you.
But do you support that?
No, I don't actually support that. I'm actually for paying for the government and
so you
want to
force me to support the government at the point of gun?
No, I didn't say that, but I'm not saying that. But let's don't digress. Let's go.
But that's what you're saying, though, right? I mean, you're not saying.
He's saying that
I'm saying you have a choice. And this is a job. You know, I read something that the owner of the Dallas Cowboys...
Well, no, I don't have a choice because a lot of times the government will come after people and put them in a prison cell at the point of a gun if they don't do what they say and they don't, pay the money they demand.
Fight them. I mean, you have every right in this country. Fight them.
Fight them?
Any way you want to. You have every choice to fight them in the court of law.
But I'm not violent. I mean, I'm not going to... I'm not like the government. I'm not a violent person.
I'm talking about the court of law. You have every right to do whatever you want and when you want to do it.
Yeah, but when you've got people like you on the juries, then I'm going to prison.
But you still didn't answer. I mean, do you think? It's not really. Let me ask you the question. Do you think that they should have buyer's remorse at spending $53 million or so as of 2015, and we know that rate's probably gone up? Don't you think they have every right to say to the NFL?
If the government was an independent organization that didn't get its money through the threat of violence, then I would say they should do whatever they want to do, because then they'd be just another group out there providing a service voluntarily.
I still don't think they should be. They should have never been spending that kind of money in the first place.
No, I agree with you there, but they shouldn't be stealing the money in the first place.
Right? I don't know what you're arguing with this guy about, Ian. I mean, you just sound pugnacious.
I agree with him. I think he's right on the money. That guy's brilliant that just said that. We shouldn't have been spending money like that on that.
Yeah, but that guy also agrees with me. The guy also agrees, the guy you're talking to, Mark Edge, he agrees with me that you shouldn't be having to be forced to pay the government for all the crap that they do. Because they do a bunch of crap that's way worse than having people kneel down on a football field, right? The government bombs innocent, peaceful people all around the globe.
Really? Do you know what that symbolically says when you're just putting your finger up towards the flag? I mean, that flag.
Do you know what it says when bombs drop down from the sky on innocent children?
I want to hear what the gentleman has to say.
Yeah. It's more than just material involved here. I mean, there's a lot that has gone on. I mean, if you even read how the anthem came about, what was going on all around the time that was being written, I mean, we were at a state of war. In fact, the guy who wrote the anthem was Francis Crick. He wasn't even for the war that was going on.
But he was pro-slavery, and the third verse does include parts about killing slaves. He was very for that.
Well, you know what? Do you think the NFL problems is just the kneeling of the flag? Do you think they're down in audience because of just that?
I think what the problem is the United States government is going to hell in a handbasket, and people are worried about whether or not black people are standing up for their favorite song. I think that's part of the problem.
Well, you know what I worry about too, more than just the flag? I worry about a guy who knocks his wife out in an elevator and all the violence going on in the NFL. And
there was an NFL player that did that. It's not like the only It's not like the only guy who's ever knocked his wife out in an elevator, right?
No, but the sporting events are getting exhausting watching this play out and seeing that they get millions, and we sit and watch them and all their antics off the field.
I don't pay any attention to it.
Exhausting.
He'll stop watching it. There's all kinds of other things that you can spend your time on.
There's this awesome show. It's called Game of Thrones. Check it out.
I'm not a huge fan necessarily, but I've heard a lot of people like it.
I want to dead my brain for that. Yeah, I'll dumb my brain down for that.
Thanks for the call tonight, Kelly. I appreciate hearing from you. I'm sorry. I mean, I get where you're coming from, Mark, that these people are spending all this time worrying about what the NFL's up to, but yet the federal government is destroying people's freedoms, not just in other countries, but here in the United States.
Yours. You know?
Your freedoms, yeah.
Right. You're listening to my voice. The United States federal government has done something in the last 2 decades to go after your freedoms.
But people aren't in the streets upset about that. They're mad because somebody sat down during a football game. I mean, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
The killing of innocent people around the globe doesn't matter a whit to these people. However many bodies have been, blown up because of the U.S. military's interventionism in the Middle East, for instance, just to name a more recent conflict, that's all immaterial, apparently. Because that's gone on throughout, president after president. Donald Trump continued and escalated what Obama continued and escalated from what Bush had done, and, Clinton before him and Bush before him, and just so on and so on. And all kinds of innocent people dying at the hands of the military. But yet people should be forced to support that, but at the same time, the person believes the government should be able to opt out of advertising dollars. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE.
I'm sure they should.
Yeah, I understand, Mark. I agree with you there.
If they opt out of the advertising dollars, you stop getting the rednecks that'll go over there and fight for this stuff. No, they'll advertise somewhere else, Mark. They'll advertise anywhere else. It's not going to come. The reason they advertise in these sports is because it works.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's lots of other places to advertise. They'd be more than happy to take their money. I mean, I'm sure country music television would love to have a nice big budget from the U.S. military buying advertising.
I'm sure they would.
So the toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. But it's not freedom when you don't get to opt out. So if you want to go ahead and have some sort of militaristic organization, whether it be the U.S. federal government's military or some private group of mercenaries that you put together, and you want to advertise for new soldiers or recruits or whatever, then as long as you're funding it voluntarily, I don't care. It's none of my business. But if you're going to force people who support peace to fund your violence to fund your organizations of aggression like the police or the military, then that is not freedom. If you don't have the freedom to say no, then you are enslaved by that system. And that's not anything that resembles freedom. It's all just the idea that you have freedom is an illusion. Sure, you can leave your house in the morning and choose whether you go north, south, east, or west. You can choose where you work. You can choose what your vocation is. There are a lot of things you can choose. But if you can't choose to participate in something that you dislike, then you're not truly free. Especially if you're forced to pay for it as well.
Right, and like when it comes to having a job, lots of people talk about wage slavery or something like that. Like you feel like you're forced to have a job. I get it. Life sucks without a paycheck. Mm-hmm. But you can go work at other different places. But you don't have the option when the United States federal government claims the particular land that it claims as its own, and then gives you this one inconsequential vote and tells you you're free. That's a joke. If I move to Canada, it's not like the U.S. foreign policy is going to just leave me behind. By the way, I can't move to Canada. They won't let me. But if I move to some foreign country, it's not like I no longer have to worry about the United States federal government because it, frankly, claims rulership over the globe.
Yeah, now they might bomb you. If you move to another country, you could be subjected to their bombing runs. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450, free like freedom. On the way here, the magazine industry is in worse shape than ever, and the New York Times is ironically reporting on it. We'll tell you about that also. We still haven't yet played the full comments from Jamie Dimon, the J.P. Morgan Chase chief executive officer, who is on the attack against Bitcoin, saying that governments are going to shut down cryptocurrencies if they grow too large. Well, as we're speaking right now, according to CoinCap.io, the price of Bitcoin, the total market value of Bitcoin is over $60 billion US dollars. So again, for a big bank like Chase Morgan, $60 billion, that's kind of chump change. But it's a lot more now than it was in the past. And how long is it going to be before it's over $100 billion or $1 trillion in value for Bitcoin? The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And that doesn't include the other cryptocurrencies, of which there's another $66 billion worth of those. Hour two's on the way.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment, it gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 23rd, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.99 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,297 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,609. Antiwar.com reports the increasingly aggressive police crackdown on the Catalonian referendum is taking a lot more police. Spain reported some 5,000 national police are already based there, and 3,000 to 4,000 more have been reported to have arrived. An unusual aspect of this is that 3 ferries have been bringing police into the city of Barcelona en masse, and all are festooned with Looney Tunes characters, part of a promotion being run by the company that owns the ferries. The growing police presence and aggressive crackdowns are fueling mounting protest among the Catalan population, with thousands taking to the streets of Barcelona and dock workers refusing to provide services to the police staying on the ferries. The Catalan secession referendum is scheduled for October 1st, and while police have been arresting officials involved, top regional officials say the vote will go on as scheduled. The Spanish government has responded with more and more police. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the American Civil Liberties Union on Friday filed a lawsuit against the city of St. Louis for what it described as the unconstitutional treatment of people protesting the acquittal of a police officer who fatally shot a motorist. The ACLU of Missouri accused the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department of misconduct, using chemical weapons, interfering with video of police activities, and violating due process. The organization in particular took issue with officers' use of the controversial crowd control technique known as kettling, in which police close in on protesters from all sides, preventing them from leaving an area before arresting them. Protesters said the St. Louis police used this technique Sunday night, the third night of protest of the acquittal of former officer Jason Stockley, who fatally shot Andrew Lamar Smith in December 2011. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reported police boxed in and arrested about 100 people in a downtown intersection, including some residents walking home and not involved in the protest, members of the media, and legal observers. Post-Dispatch reporter Mike Falk was one of those arrested. He said police yelled at him to move back, before officers knocked him to the ground. He said a foot pushed his head into the pavement before an officer used pepper spray on his face. He was arrested and released on $50 bond the next day. Another woman who was arrested said the officers were advancing on the crowd, banging their batons on the ground. She said when we tried to walk one way, they came at us with pepper spray and batons and told us to go the other, but there was no other place for us to go. She said that though she was not treated roughly by the officers, others were. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. Reuters reports corporate donations for Hurricanes Harvey and Irma relief funds totaled nearly $225 million by Friday, and pledges continued to be made, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Automakers and energy companies, some of them affected by the most powerful storm to hit Texas's Gulf Coast in 50 years, are among the prominent corporate donors. Texas, the biggest oil-producing state, was pummeled by Harvey when it made landfall as a powerful Category 4 hurricane and proceeded to dump more than 50 inches of rain on the Houston area. Bailey Jacobs, a spokeswoman for the Chamber of Commerce Foundation, said in all around 90 businesses have donated at least $1 million each. Some companies have donated to the Rebuild Texas Fund, started by computer magnate Michael Dell in collaboration with One Star Foundation. It received pledges of $68.6 million as of Friday, according to its website. The fund aims to raise $100 million to rebuild communities in Texas affected by Hurricane Harvey. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Scientology minister Frank D. Linehan was arrested this morning on 471 charges of molesting Thetans. The popular 56-year-old minister was reportedly taken into custody after an investigation revealed this week that he sexually abused dozens of Thetans in the past year, with many of the ancient alien spirits being as young as 65 million years old.
Church members left these Thetans alone with someone they trusted, and Mr. Linehan clearly violated that trust.
According to police reports, the abuse continued as recently as last week when Linehan forced a 70-million-year-old alien spirit to perform oral sex during a level OT2 solo auditing session. Since the allegations against Linehan surfaced, more and more church members have come forward about Thetan abuse. Despite the church's efforts to recover from the incident, the scandal may alienate a whole generation of Scientologists.
I don't see how they can expect anyone to continue moving up the bridge to total freedom and achieve clear after this.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the live Sunday edition. Here with you in the studio, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Our number for you to take control of the airwaves is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Of course, you can bring up anything that you want. If we get the chance, we'll tell you about the struggling magazine industry. They've been having a tough time the last decade or so, and things are not getting brighter on the horizon for that particular industry. But also another industry that is less threatened in the immediate moment, but they might be able to see some of the threats from Bitcoin and cryptocurrency out there floating, and that's why Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase is once again on the attack. Within the last 2 weeks, he's made headlines for being verbally attacking Bitcoin, saying that the government's going to shut it down if it becomes too popular, which of course suggests that this man doesn't really understand what Bitcoin is. But let me play some of his comments here because we barely got into it in the last hour before we ended up taking your phone calls about a variety of different things, as we are wont to do here on Free Talk Live, and you can join us and take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. But here's Jamie Dimon in an interview with CNBC TV 18 in New Delhi, India. Again, this is in response to his other comments from like a week or so ago when he was also attacking Bitcoin. So they've asked him some more questions about his opinions.
Of the languages here, countries form their currency. They like to control their currency. So right now, I say these crypto things are kind of a novelty. People think they're kind of neat. But the bigger they get, the more government's going to close them down. And they're also used a lot for illicit purposes. So you've seen.
Okay, hold on. We'll get into that here in a moment. So the bigger they get, the more likely the government is to close them down. Now, I understand why he's saying that, because that is certainly how the government would like to behave. I mean, they are a violent criminal gang, and they will use violence to protect their turf. In this case, their turf is the financial system and the fiat money supply, which is to some extent going to be threatened, hopefully, in a large way by things like cryptocurrencies. So it's understandable if you look at New York, for instance, and the BIT license thing that they passed, 2015, I think it was, which has driven Bitcoin-related and cryptocurrency-related businesses out of the state of New York. You've got Washington State just now that this year, I believe, is looking at implementing some cryptocurrency regulations that are going to be similar, as I understand it, to the New York BIT license. And you've got companies already like Shapeshift.io announcing that they're pulling out of Washington. So if you're in Washington State and you're trying to use Shapeshift, I don't think it currently works, or if it does currently work, it's not going to in the very near future once this legislation gets completed. And I'm not sure the exact status of it right now. So if you're in Washington State and you know better, feel free to call in and let us know about that. So there's no doubt the government will target as much as possible.
I don't know, though, that there is. I have a doubt.
And why is that? Because New Hampshire is actually protecting Bitcoin?
Well, there's that. But I guess I'm tired of hearing the same old crap over and over and not seeing it happen.
What do you mean?
Right. So before we moved up to New Hampshire for the this great freedom migration of libertarians to New Hampshire, I kept on hearing about, you can't put a bunch of libertarians in one state because they'll roll tanks in, right?
That hasn't happened.
And while we were up here for years, I would hear things like, you can't have a bunch of people, libertarians in one place because they'll roll tanks in, right? Nobody says that dumb crap anymore because they never rolled tanks in. Now, we've been in Bitcoin here since January 2011 here on Free Talk Live, correct?
Sounds right.
People have been talking about how, the government's going to shut down Bitcoin. I mean, for 6 years now. How long do I have to hear this crap?
Well, the argument is Bitcoin's
no one's
too
even
small.
saying this except for Jamie Dimon at this point.
Oh, somebody else is saying it out
Who?
there.
No one says it to me.
I bet you Peter Schiff and some of the gold bug types would say something like that.
Well, I'm not going to put any words in anyone's mouth. I haven't heard Peter Schiff say that. I've heard him say a lot of stuff, but you got to tell me who's saying it before you say other people are saying it. Yes, some lunatic out there saying it, but some lunatic still believes they're going to roll tanks into New Hampshire and stop this great freedom migration.
Well, look, Mark, I mean, the evidence is that governments will target the things that are a threat to their power. I mean, that does happen.
Are we
right?
Which governments are we talking about here?
Any
are we talking about
governments.
North Korea?
Any governments.
North Korea might very well try to stop
any government's going to threaten,
but the rest of them, the rest of them survive on the belief of their people that they are at least to some extent good. If governments just decide for whatever reason to outlaw cryptocurrencies and they don't give any particular reason other than they're protecting our right. If you say
drug
terrorism.
Dealers.
What's that?
Drug dealers.
Right,
Terrorism.
they say terrorism and drug dealers.
Right.
But then you got to shut down the U.S. dollar because terrorists and drug dealers use that. I understand
they're not going to play logically in their game. They're not going to say, well, now that we've shut down Bitcoin, we also need to shut down our dollar. They're not going to do that.
All right. Governments aren't going to shut down Bitcoin. If they were going to shut down Bitcoin, they'd have shut down Bitcoin
Governments
already.
can't shut down Bitcoin. That's the point that Jamie Dimon doesn't understand.
But they're not going to attempt it because A, they will fail,
they already have.
And B, they already...
But they already have. The New York Bit license has driven Bitcoin-related businesses.
That is not the government shutting down anything,
I
Ian.
understand that, but what it is... it is, actually. It's
no,
not
it isn't.
Let me explain. It's not government shutting down Bitcoin because government cannot shut down Bitcoin because it is a decentralized currency. However, they can outlaw the use of Bitcoin in certain places.
A license isn't an outlaw. A license,
yes,
look,
it is.
Morticians aren't outlawed in New York, but there's a license for it, Ian.
Mark, you don't understand how the license works. Then let me clarify something for you. If you don't get the license and the government finds out you don't have it and you're doing business, they're going to come down with men with guns to stop you.
Duh. That's what it's like if you try to cut hair in New Hampshire without a cosmetology license.
Yeah.
So, look, licensure isn't shutting anything down.
Yes, it is. It's shutting down every single business who wanted to do business in New York. So if you want to do local Bitcoins, if you want to do Shapeshift.io, there's a bunch of things that are affecting the average user of Bitcoin. But it would be bad enough if it was
Dimon didn't say the government's going to start handing out licenses for Bitcoin. He said they're going to shut it down.
You're changing the point of what we're talking about here.
I know what you're talking about. You're saying that handing out licenses is shutting things down.
Yeah, it is.
I say it is demonstrably not that.
Well,
I don't
tell that to the
support
people who closed their businesses in New York. Tell that to all the Bitcoin vending machine, Bitcoin ATM companies who pulled out of New York. That's a shutdown.
No, it's not a shutdown. It's a choice by the market to not do business in a place that believes that licensure is necessary for this.
So by default, that is a shutting down of Bitcoin activity in the state of New York and soon to be the state of Washington. It doesn't mean Bitcoin has been shut down. You can still have Bitcoin legally in New York. You can still buy things with Bitcoin in New York, but it's been made a whole lot more difficult for people in the state of New York to get the basic Bitcoin market services that the rest of us have access to in the rest of the world and the rest of the country. For you to sit there and act like the Bit license is no big deal is BS. It is a big deal.
It's no big deal. I'm celebrating it. I want to go out to New York and I want to thank a politician for making their stupid, tyrannical state that much more irrelevant. People will move out of New York because they cannot do business.
When other states
Why am I
copy
still talking and you're talking? People will move out of the state of New York.
They've been moving out.
Yeah, they'll move out and they will vote with their feet, and that will be one more nail in the coffin of the tyrannical bureaucracy known as the government of the state of New York.
I'm with you there, dude. That's all true.
Right.
But to act like that, what they've done is somehow not damaging or somehow, not a bad thing. The Bit license is terrible for the people of New York.
I didn't act like that at all. I said that getting a license isn't shutting it down. You tend to get that impression.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one because you talk to the people who have not started businesses because of a license.
The first thing I'll say to them is, why are you still in New York?
There are licenses for all kinds of things in all kinds of states. That shuts down business. It stops people from investing in their own businesses. It stops people from being entrepreneurial because the barrier to entry is too high to start, whether it's a restaurant or a Bitcoin exchange or whatever it is, when licenses get in the way.
Jamie Dimon isn't talking about licenses.
I didn't say he was. You are talking about licenses. and you're saying it's not shutting things down. And licensing absolutely does shut things down. It restricts the marketplace to only the richest of actors and the people who have the attorneys to get into a marketplace. You know all this about licenses.
You don't have to tell me. I don't think licenses should exist.
Great.
But it's not shutting Bitcoin down. It's not.
I didn't say at any point that it was.
What are we talking about here? Are we talking about Jamie Dimon or not?
You were saying it wasn't. You were saying licensing isn't shutting down businesses.
Licensure does not apply to what Jamie Dimon is talking about.
Right. I agree with you there. But
Good.
Was I misunderstanding you when you said that licensing does not shut down business?
No, I said that licensing isn't shutting down Bitcoin.
Okay, well, that's good. We agree on that. Sorry I misunderstood you there. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. I never said licensing. I never said licensing shuts down Bitcoin, and I'm sure that's not what you said, but we'll move on. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. The vet wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years.
Petey stopped eating. All his hair fell out. Itching, licking, missing fur. DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
And then it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on. It was awesome.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days. I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
If you want to promote your business, organization, website, or club, radio's a great way to reach a lot of people. And because the ads are low cost, you can reach them a lot more often. Repetition builds reputation, and ads with a
centralized currency. However, they can outlaw the use of Bitcoin.
Or at Ian?
Mark, you don't understand how the license works.
State, morticians aren't outlawed in New York.
Yes, it is.
Morticians aren't outlawed.
Down Bitcoin because it is a decentralized currency. However, but they already have. The New York Bit license has driven.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version. or paperback or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free here at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also, if you want to get into Bitcoin mining, for instance, you can do that over at pool.bitcoin.com. You can forget about the cost, the constant equipment upgrades, and the maintenance, stuff that, unless you're a technical wizard, you probably can't handle as far as Bitcoin mining is concerned. So let the wizards do it for you, and you just put some Bitcoin in as an investment, and then you can use their handy calculator tool over at pool.bitcoin.com to try to figure out how much you could possibly bring in from your Bitcoin mining efforts at pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee, so get on over there and you can jump in, as Mark and I have done, at pool.bitcoin.com. All right, so our toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. And I did go back in the audio, Mark, and I double-checked, and you absolutely were saying the things that I thought you were saying that you were denying saying. You said that the BIT license, which is the New York State regulatory structure that they put into place back in 2015 against certain Bitcoin-related businesses, not people who are just accepting Bitcoin at the retail level, but people who are like trying to run like a Bitcoin exchange or something like that. Those folks, they were regulated by this, and you said at one point that the BIT license is not the government shutting down anything. And you said during the break that you stand by that statement.
Yeah, I do stand by that statement. So,
which is what I was arguing with you about in the last segment.
Right.
That you denied that I was arguing with
So what you're saying is that something's been shut down, so therefore my statement that it didn't shut down anything is false. And yes, if you look at it that way, I can see the point you're trying to make.
Like all the businesses who quit and exited their business from the state of New York or shut down their business entirely, or all the businesses that never started because they can't get the $100,000 together that they would need to get through the application process.
So what you're saying
that's all
is
been
that
shut down.
If anybody's been shut down, if anything has been shut down, therefore my statement that the government isn't shutting anything down with licensure is false. What my
it's quite clearly false, yes.
Well, from a point of view.
Okay.
My statement is that there is no activity that the government licenses that has been shut down. So morticians still mortate in New York,
You're
even
saying
though
the entire industry hasn't been shut down.
Right.
Well,
and that's what Jamie Dimon's talking about. He said and remember, that's where this conversation comes from.
Yeah, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of Chase.
The CEO of a large central bank says Bitcoin, if Bitcoin gets too big and too successful, they'll shut down Bitcoin.
He's talking about shutting down the whole thing, which is not possible.
Right, but you can't do it in a geographic area like New York either. And
no, you can't stop Bitcoin.
And handing out licenses in New York for people to do business in Bitcoin only makes the people who want to do business in Bitcoin in New York get licenses. And then the people who don't. So Bitcoin businesses haven't been shut down in New York.
Well, many of them have.
Exchanges haven't been shut down in New York.
Many of them have, actually.
Exchanging of Bitcoins has not been shut down in New York. It's been licensed. And that's the point I'm trying to make.
That's a lame definition of shutdown. To say that shutdown has to include every single business entity.
That's what he's talking about, though. That's the tent under which we're arguing is Jamie Dimon talking about shutting down
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Right. He's talking about shutting down Bitcoin. I never said the BIT license has shut down Bitcoin. No one has ever said that. No one has ever said that Bitcoin has completely exited New York or all Bitcoin businesses have exited New York. But if some businesses have stopped doing business and others have not started, that is in effect a clampdown or a shutdown of that particular industry. Let's move on. Jamie Dimon continuing here from CNBC. What else do you have to add to this? We're going around in circles.
The point is that if they were going to shut down Bitcoin, they should have done it already.
They cannot shut down Bitcoin.
Could have.
No, they can't. And that's why Jamie Dimon doesn't know what he's talking about, and you should know better than to say something like that. They can't stop Bitcoin because it's a decentralized cryptocurrency, meaning it's decentralized, meaning that there are nodes that are the system, that they are the network of Bitcoin that exist outside of New York, that exist outside of the United States, that are all around the globe. It is an impossible task to stop the Bitcoin network. No, they could not have shut it down.
If in 2011, when the CIA became aware of Bitcoin, they had set up a 51% attack. They had set up miners where they were 75, 80% of the miners. They had then gone and altered the software that is Bitcoin at that point to make it less decentralized and more to their liking. Then they would have had the power and the resources to put the genie back in the bottle for Bitcoin. Now, that wouldn't have changed cryptocurrency at large because the blockchain technology had already been created, and the time and the energy that it would have taken to put the 51% attack on Bitcoin,
if that would even have been possible, because it would have cost a lot of money, it would have cost a lot of time.
It would have been time, but all I'm saying is that if the government was going to attack Bitcoin, they would have done it already, and
they didn't know what it was probably back then. They had
the CIA had a white paper. They had a speech from Gavin Andresen. They had it. They knew at least to some extent what it was. They didn't have the foresight. If they wanted to shut it down, they didn't have the foresight to do it. So I stand by my statements. Go right ahead.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that they could have shut it down by adding more nodes to the network than already existed at that time.
Right.
Which, again, is speculative. You don't know if that would have even been possible, because anybody else out there in the world would have been able to compete with them and, add nodes and so on and so forth.
Well, they would have been basically had okay, the government has the power to produce things, the money and the power to produce things much more quickly than the marketplace if we're talking about something very limited like this.
Generally, the government doesn't move quickly.
I know. Well, that's the problem, is they couldn't, if they were going to do it, the time that they were able to do something has passed.
Right. So you agree with me then that they cannot shut down Bitcoin at this point?
They cannot shut down Bitcoin at this point.
But why, Mark, couldn't they do the same thing? Why couldn't they just put 20,000 nodes onto the system and then create raise all these miners and throw billions of dollars into it?
The wall's been built too high. At this point, you'd see it happening. The miners would see it happening. They wouldn't want to be outclassed. They'd begin to put more mining rigs on. And the government knows they can't do this. It would have been hard in 2011.
Right. It would have been very hard.
It would have been. It's darned near impossible, because to get this done, Donald Trump's got to come out and he's got to say, we're going to build Bitcoin mining rigs to make Bitcoin the biggest thing, blah, blah, blah. And then what happens? Everybody just flees. And it's presuming they managed to build the giant Bitcoin mining apparatus.
They'll switch to Litecoin or switch to Dash.
They'll switch over to Dash. Why would you go to Litecoin? It's garbage.
Well, back in 2011, there was no Dash.
Well, we're talking about now.
No, you were talking about 2011. Remember what you were saying 5 minutes ago. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Maybe you should take up some smoking of cannabis, Mark. It might help your memory. Let's go to Jamie Dimon.
A lot for illicit purposes, so you've seen China just go after them. So that's what I've said. I mean, you can like it or not.
Okay, let's stop there. So he was saying Bitcoin can be used for illicit purposes, and China has gone after them. Well, again, China hasn't gone after them because there is no them when it comes to Bitcoin. It's not like there's a company that exists that the government...
He may be talking about miners.
Well, we don't know what he's talking about. But it's not like there's a company that exists that the government can just go and raid their offices like they have with, let's say, Uber. When Uber came into certain markets, I think it was South Korea and France, they actually conducted actual physical raids against their offices. There are no Bitcoin offices. There are programmers who program for Bitcoin, and they are located in diverse spots all around the world, and there, I believe, are hundreds of people who have contributed to the Bitcoin programming at this point. So they can't just use their police thugs to shut down Bitcoin here. And when China went after them, they're talking about China going after some of the exchanges, which was a recent headline. And the Bitcoin market did dip in price, but it's gone back up since then. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, because Bitcoin don't really care.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available, comfortable interiors, and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No-Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us right here, toll free at 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Still to come here tonight. Hopefully we'll be joined by Will Coley from the MALIC Center, the future full-time mosque that's opening up here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. He's been really working away hard at repainting and scraping and doing all kinds of prep and cleaning up a house. And
house cleanup stinks.
Has had a lot of volunteer assistance as well. I've been out there. That's the reason I've been out for the majority of the last over a week here on the show, is I've been out there doing various different cleanup operations. And so hopefully we'll talk to Will about how that's going along and the fundraiser that he's put together, and that we've got a pretty exciting announcement about coming up here tonight. That's still on the way. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Mark, how does one stop bullets?
Well, in the case of handgun bullets, you need I don't know the way to pronounce this, but body armor that's type 3A, I think is what it's called. And what bulletblocker.com is the thinnest and lightest ballistic of this sort available in the market today. It's very flexible and concealable. There is a lower form. I think it's 2, two eyes or whatever it is, Roman numeral 2. And that will stop smaller handgun rounds. You don't want that. You want the larger, 3A type. It's airport security friendly. Their products are attractive, well made right here in the U.S. You got to have a nice jacket. You might as well have one that stops bullets too. And you might as well get something for the whole family. This isn't the kind of thing you get a second chance at. BulletBlocker.com. If the lives in your family are priceless, protect them at BulletBlocker.com.
All right, our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to the phones, to the fun, where Tom is on the line in Nashua, New Hampshire, and you're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tom.
There's a news story going on about in Loudon, New Hampshire at the NASCAR races. The race car drivers are saying anybody who doesn't stand for the national anthem is going to be fired. And, of course, you're working for them, and they decide who to hire, and in a free country, that's their right. But one of them goes on to advertise a point that I really have to address here, and is advertising his intense ignorance. If so, Childress says he told his team that anybody that works for, then he goes on to say, anybody that don't stand up for the anthem ought to be out of the country, period.
Wow.
And, this love it or leave it type of
Now, who
attitude,
is this guy? Is this like the chairman of the NASCAR?
Hall of Fame driver Richard Petty's sentiments. He's the one that says anybody that don't stand up for the anthem ought to be out of the country.
So he's just a driver. Okay.
Well,
the driver.
The love it or leave it. The answer to that, of course, is that the only people who are truly free to move out of the country are people who can get permission from the bureaucrats in another country to move into that other country.
That's true.
Because
not entirely. I mean, you've got to if you want to, you lose your U.S. citizenship, you've got to pay an exit tax. You've got to go through government bureaucracy, U.S. government bureaucracy, and ask permission to no longer be a citizen. So I mean,
there's a lot of permission asking.
There's a lot of permission asking for this whole love it or leave it crap. And I would point out. I'm certainly not going to claim that slavery hasn't gotten better throughout the millennia and throughout the centuries, but citizenship, if they demand a portion of your wages, a portion of your earnings, that's what slavery is somebody, they're forcing you to work and then taking your earnings. In this case, if you choose to work, they take a portion of your earnings. If they, if you've got to pay in some kind of exit tax to no longer have that happen, well, people could buy their freedom slaves could buy their freedom too. So
now let me go on to point out though. See, a lot of people don't realize it because spring break, they go to Montreal and have a few beers, and they're allowed through the port of entry, but they're like mother-in-law. They can come on over and visit, but they can't move in.
Right.
See, moving in is totally different from just passing through or visiting as a tourist and spending money there, but not going to earn any of the local money and have a job. Mm-hmm. They're very jealous about anything where you would take a job in that country or take up residence in that country. There's a whole lot of red tape, and only the ones who can jump through those hoops are the ones who are free to move out of this country.
Which is why we need a place in the world where people can come to without having to beg some bureaucrat's permission, where as long as they are welcomed by a property owner or a job of some sort, that they should be able to come there. And hopefully we'll have a place like that someday. Right now, actually, isn't Uruguay pretty friendly to immigration?
There's lots of places.
I don't know. Well, you go Uruguay and I'll go mine. Goodbye.
Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call.
Lots of places are friendly to immigration. I mean, that's not. It's not difficult.
Are there lots of them? As I understood it, there was only like a couple.
There's lots of them.
Okay. Well,
and if you have certain,
are we only talking about for people with $500,000 to spend?
Well, there's that, right? I mean, it comes down to
because I'm talking about friendly to anybody.
To move there, I couldn't tell you as far as that goes. I can tell you this, that Italy and Ireland and Israel, their immigration has to do with your lineage. So if you can claim to
family.
Yeah, well, if you can claim to be part, I think it's within usually a grandparent that is Italian, Irish, or Jewish, then you can get citizenship.
Uruguay has a stated policy of welcoming foreign nationals who wish to come and live in the country. There is no immigration quota, nor does Uruguay's immigration authority discretionally reject applications.
I've heard that the people in Uruguay, this is somebody who lived there for a few months, said that they were sort of fiercely against foreigners.
It is also not required the applicant invest in the country either. So that's all. I've always heard that Uruguay is one of the more friendly places to immigrants. But if you know of others, it might be interesting to learn those
You're talking
things.
about the government, not a place.
Correct.
I'm talking about the place, not the government.
Yeah.
The place is supposedly not very friendly from what I've heard.
Okay. Well, I know Derek J was there for a few months.
That's of whom I
That's who you
speak.
heard it from? Okay. Wow, I thought they spoke highly of their time in Uruguay. But I don't know.
It's probably a beautiful place.
The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. I suspect you're going to encounter anti-immigrant zealots in every country of the world, would be my guess. Because xenophobia is not something that is exclusive to the United States.
Don't just move someplace without going to check it out.
No doubt. Yeah, that's a bad plan. So you can bring up anything that you want as we go back to the J.P. Morgan Chase CEO, Jamie Dimon, and his attack against Bitcoin.
A lot for illicit purposes. So you've seen China just go after them. So that's what I've said. I mean, you can like it or not like it, but my own view is that eventually government's going to close it down. They like to control their currency. They like to know who has it, where it goes, why it goes, when it goes. Yeah. They like to see it. And the cryptocurrency is the opposite. So
yes, and that's why people love cryptocurrency, because they don't have an interest in letting the government know all of their business. And people like Jamie Dimon, who are essentially backers of the fiat money system, the government money system, he benefits from it. He profits quite greatly from his investments and his position with J.P. Morgan Chase. So of course he wants to promote the government's line of, well, we need a money that you can see, that you can track, that the government knows everything about, that the government knows where you are and what you're spending it on and what all your habits are. And there are a lot of people in the world who don't want the government to know. And it's not just drug dealers and terrorists. Everybody wants privacy. I mean, most people who aren't insane government lovers want privacy from the government. Most people, if they are given the opportunity, whether it's a waitress
Choice
or...
A, would you like the government to know all about your finances? Choice B, would you like to show the government, would you like them to not know any?
Right.
And people are going to choose B all day long.
Or if you can have halvesies where they know about some and not about others,
now,
that's
some
good
people
too.
will say, I'll take choice A if you can implement it on everyone else. But cryptocurrency has now blown the door off that vault. No longer can the government demand to see your banking. Yeah, if you bank at their banking systems, they can see all your stuff. But if you bank with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, nope, they necessarily can't.
Well, Bitcoin is a public ledger, so anybody who wants to can actually look at all of the transactions on Bitcoin. But if they don't have enough knowledge about the source and destination and who holds the addresses,
you have to take steps.
And
And that's why I look for things like Dash and Monero and stuff like that to become much more popular.
All right, more on the way here. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
When I get to about 3/4, when I get down to the bottom, a couple more scoops, it's time to place my order. Dinovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us on the radio and take control of the airwaves on this live Sunday edition. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Jamie Dimon on the attack again against Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general, saying that he thinks the government or governments will shut Bitcoin down if it grows too large, too popular. We'll play more of his ridiculous and uninformed fear-mongering comments here in moments. It's Ian and Mark in the studio, and want to invite you to freetalklive.com to help us out. We got all kinds of ways you can help the show. And one of those ways is if you're a podcast listener, if you are listening via our, let's say, RSS feed through iTunes or maybe Stitcher or one of the other platforms on which you can find Free Talk Live, or maybe I don't know what else there is out there that people could rate us on, but we're asking you for ratings. So when you're in iTunes, there's a way to leave, I believe, a star rating for us, as well as if you feel so inspired, a text-based, description of why you like the show.
You probably should not just what you like, why you like the show, but probably describe the show a little bit. Libertarian radio program, current events commentary, things like that.
So you can do that for us, and it makes a big difference because the more people rate Free Talk Live on iTunes and these other platforms, the more likely those platforms will kind of put us out there in listings and top lists and things like that. So it's a way for us to attract more new listeners to the show. So if you care about Free Talk Live and spreading the ideas of liberty and cryptocurrency and peace, then please take a moment, leave us a rating, leave us a review, and we really appreciate it if you do that. So thank you in advance. As we go back to J.P. Morgan Chief Executive Jamie Dimon, who was interviewed by CNBC TV 18 in New Delhi this past Friday about his opinions about Bitcoin.
Again, I would prefer digital. You might have a crypto dollar. I would prefer that than a cryptocurrency was not a fiat currency.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No,
he would prefer the currency. So he says, the idea of blockchain technology, the immutable ledger, but he wants a ledger that he's in control of, that the government
I'm not entirely sure that one could. I don't know how I don't know enough about the blockchain technology to know whether or not Jamie Dimon could get what he wants, which is to say that wise central bankers like himself can inject currency into the marketplace when they feel it is best, or whatever it is, because that's basically what he's saying. He says he likes a fiat currency, he doesn't like Bitcoin, and what the only distinction really between the fiat currency and Bitcoin is that Bitcoin doesn't, has these sort of pseudonymous accounts where you can get an account and nobody necessarily knows it's your account.
Yeah.
So, he would, it would be kind of cool to, for him, as far as he's concerned, to have a name with those accounts. And then B, he gets to decide how much money is put into the marketplace. Now, he's not the chairman of the Federal Reserve, but I'll bet you he's on the board of the Federal Reserve or whatever. He talks to these people. They talk to each other, and he has power in that way. So basically, they're asking one of the power brokers in the central banking system, "Hey, do you like the power that you broker in the power broker system, central bank stuff, or not?" And he was surprise. He likes it. He likes it. As a matter of fact, he thinks it's dangerous for the unwashed masses to be able to control their own money.
Right, and you look at the blockchain technology, which neither of us are engineers, but we do understand the basic idea that the blockchain is a distributed, decentralized ledger, meaning that it exists. The full blockchain, which is every transaction that has ever occurred on the Bitcoin network since it began in 2009, that full, what is it, 150 gigabytes worth now, I think, somewhere around that range. That full 150 gigabytes of files exists on thousands of locations all around the globe. And one of the reasons why that's beneficial is because it makes the ledger immutable, meaning that no malicious actor within the system can go and, let's say, increase their Bitcoin supplies quietly.
That'd be nice.
Just go in there and hack into the blockchain.
Only if I could do it, though.
And increase the Bitcoin supplies. And the reason they can't do that is because if you were to go, Mark, you could do it on your computer. If you had the technical ability, you could go into the blockchain and you could move all these Bitcoin into your Bitcoin account. But then the other 7,000 or 10,000 or however many nodes there are on the network at that moment would then basically blacklist you and say, that's not. Nope, sorry, you can't do that.
That ledger,
right.
And the other ledgers out there would say, nope, that's just not true.
Right, because they're all constantly checking one another's validity. So that's the benefit of the blockchain technology, is that immutability. That's one of the reasons why Bitcoin is worth around what is it today? 3,700, 38. Somewhere in that range, 3,600.
That's what I saw last. Yeah, 3678.90.
Yeah, so about $3,700 US dollars. That's one of the reasons why it's worth so much, is because it can't be manipulated by central controllers or anybody. It's a system that is very, very strong against that. And so J.P. Morgan, or Jamie Dimon in this case, he and his banker buddies, yeah, sure, they can see the benefit of an immutable ledger, but they want to be in charge of it, to where the banks are the ones who have their own immutable ledger between them.
He goes on his little computer, he says, I'm going to make all the money go where I want it to go, and then he's like, oh my God, this doesn't work. I don't get to control this money, and it makes him mad.
Yeah. So let me go on with more of his comments here.
It's just that, ultimately, all currencies are created out of thin air. And, there is a central bank backing, there is a sovereign backing, but it is still created out of thin air. And this currency at least has a stable quantity, whereas other currencies backed by central banks have quantitative...
I know, but those central banks, it says legal tender. You have to take this as payment.
No, you don't.
It's very cheap to do. It's very easy to move back and forth. JP Morgan moves $6 trillion around the world every day, very efficiently, very quietly, very effectively, and very cost efficient. It's all digital money moving around the world.
Now, somebody made an interesting point recently about, he's saying, oh, it's so fast, it's so efficient, it's cost effective. And people have looked at the Bitcoin network and how large it is and all the power, for instance, that goes into Bitcoin mining. It's very expensive. You have to pay for a lot of power in order to turn that power into computing processing time and then turn that into Bitcoins. And so whatever the total power bill of all the Bitcoin miners combined, it's probably very, very expensive. But what about all the power of all the lights and computers and the coffee makers and everything in every bank building?
Don't forget the personnel costs.
The personnel, exactly.
Of these banks.
Tremendous amounts of money and overhead goes into running these operations.
Only a mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging fool would say that somehow the banking system is more efficient
than Bitcoin.
This old legacy, system. Banking really hasn't changed that much versus Bitcoin, where everybody can bank on their cell phone.
Yeah, I was just down in Bridgeport, Connecticut the other day doing some banking, and because it's near New York City, and there's some big banks down there, including Chase Bank, and I was looking at this monolithic tower for a relatively small bank, a regional bank called People's Bank here in New England, and it was just this humongous building. I don't know how many stories it was. I don't even know if it was their main offices, but it was huge. And you just take all these bank buildings and you try to calculate how much power each one of those things is sucking down every single day, because they've got, every office has at least one computer in it that's constantly running, and they're not running the Bitcoin blockchain. So they're not creating that out of all of their processing. So it would be interesting to somehow try to estimate those numbers, but it would be very difficult.
It's got to be hundreds of times.
I would imagine
factors more than what the Bitcoin, blockchain or Bitcoin network is spending.
And good for this. The host here, whose name I have not yet caught, but the female host on CNBC TV 18 in New Delhi, for pointing out that it's all money created out of thin air. That just because the government creates the money out of thin air.
He really walked into it here because he walked into India, where they understand the value of gold, right? You talk, get some American reporter on here, and they're like, you're right, right? They don't know anything versus over there, where they understand what sound money is a bit more.
Let me go on here with Diamond.
You got to say, what is the problem we're trying to solve? And so again, I'm not against the technology, but creating money out of thin air without having a government backing is very different than creating money having a government backing.
Creating money out of thin air without a government backing is very different than creating money out of thin air with a government backing, he says.
Okay.
The difference is, as he pointed out earlier, is you have to accept the legal tender. Now, that's not necessarily true, as our friends at the Bitcoin shop pointed out to us the other day.
Right. I don't think demonstrably that's so, that you have to accept legal tender.
Only for debts.
Yeah.
And that's what it says on the legal tender. If you pull out $1 or whatever out of your pocket and you look at it, it does say legal tender accepted for, or basically, to paraphrase, I don't have it in front of me, that you must accept this for debts, public and private. So if you've gotten into debt with somebody, then they have to accept US dollars as payment of that debt. But if you have yet to sell that person a thing, if you're at a storefront or whatever, or if you've yet to go into business with that person, then there is no debt created, and so therefore you can refuse the legal tender.
You can decide what the exchange rate is between Bitcoin. If they have a debt with you for 1 Bitcoin, you can say, fine, you can pay it off for $10,000.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. That's an interesting point. There's more coming up here. Hour number 3 is on the way.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-557-0158. That's 800-557-0158. Again, 800-557-0158.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Lil Drums. Every bit as fun as a full-size Nestle drumstick cone, and definitely cuter. Visit us at drumstick.com. Vacations are all about family time, but you don't have to leave home to have fun. Take 1 weekend a month and devote it to family activities. Pull out the board games and puzzles, serve up some treats, or have a picnic. Even without leaving home, you'll feel like you've really had some time away. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 23rd, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.99 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,297 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,609. Antiwar.com reports the increasingly aggressive police crackdown on the Catalonian referendum is taking a lot more police. Spain reported some 5,000 national police are already based there, and 3,000 to 4,000 more have been reported to have arrived. An unusual aspect of this is that 3 ferries have been bringing police into the city of Barcelona en masse, and all are festooned with Looney Tunes characters, part of a promotion being run by the company that owns the ferries. The growing police presence and aggressive crackdowns are fueling mounting protest among the Catalan population, with thousands taking to the streets of Barcelona and dock workers refusing to provide services to the police staying on the ferries. The Catalan secession referendum is scheduled for October 1st, and while police have been arresting officials involved, top regional officials say the vote will go on as scheduled. The Spanish government has responded with more and more police. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the American Civil Liberties Union on Friday filed a lawsuit against the city of St. Louis for what it described as the unconstitutional treatment of people protesting the acquittal of a police officer who fatally shot a motorist. The ACLU of Missouri accused the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department of misconduct, using chemical weapons, interfering with video of police activities, and violating due process. The organization in particular took issue with officers' use of the controversial crowd control technique known as kettling, in which police close in on protesters from all sides, preventing them from leaving an area before arresting them. Protesters said the St. Louis police used this technique Sunday night, the third night of protest of the acquittal of former officer Jason Stockley, who fatally shot Andrew Lamar Smith in December 2011. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reported police boxed in and arrested about 100 people in a downtown intersection, including some residents walking home and not involved in the protest, members of the media, and legal observers. Post-Dispatch reporter Mike Falk was one of those arrested. He said police yelled at him to move back, before officers knocked him to the ground. He said a foot pushed his head into the pavement before an officer used pepper spray on his face. He was arrested and released on $50 bond the next day. Another woman who was arrested said the officers were advancing on the crowd, banging their batons on the ground. She said when we tried to walk one way, they came at us with pepper spray and batons and told us to go the other, but there was no other place for us to go. She said that though she was not treated roughly by the officers, others were. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. Reuters reports corporate donations for Hurricanes Harvey and Irma relief funds totaled nearly $225 million by Friday, and pledges continued to be made, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Automakers and energy companies, some of them affected by the most powerful storm to hit Texas's Gulf Coast in 50 years, are among the prominent corporate donors. Texas, the biggest oil-producing state, was pummeled by Harvey when it made landfall as a powerful Category 4 hurricane and proceeded to dump more than 50 inches of rain on the Houston area. Bailey Jacobs, a spokeswoman for the Chamber of Commerce Foundation, said in all around 90 businesses have donated at least $1 million each. Some companies have donated to the Rebuild Texas Fund, started by computer magnate Michael Dell in collaboration with One Star Foundation. It received pledges of $68.6 million as of Friday, according to its website. The fund aims to raise $100 million to rebuild communities in Texas affected by Hurricane Harvey. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Thomas the Tank Engine says he's a little uneasy with his broad autistic following, and a couple has a nest egg of debt to make sure they've got some money to owe down the road. This is the Onion Week in Review. Local video editor James Korf told reporters Wednesday that despite having said goodbye over 10 minutes ago, his friend, Michael Woodward, still remained active on GChat and had shown no signs of leaving.
If it were yellow, it would mean that he hasn't been on the computer for a little while, or if it was red, it would mean he doesn't want to talk, but it's green. I can tell. I can see it right there.
Korf later said that he felt briefly relieved when Woodward's chat logo turned orange, but was once again dejected when it became green within seconds. And in this week's op-ed pages, a high school guidance counselor laments the fact that no one in his entire damn school has been molested. In other news, a bedbug feels bad for an area man, but a bug's gotta eat. A development exec wants to see what, where, and how that would look, live, and play out, and a man at the gym is just watching TV. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll free to join us here. Our number 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and Skype on in. Skype username LRN.FM as we launch into the third hour of the program. At some point here within the hour, I'm expecting to have Will Coley from the Muslims for Liberty, Muslims4liberty.org, in the new MALIC Center that's being built here, New Hampshire's first.
What's the word MALIC mean?
New Hampshire's first full-time mosque. I will pull that up for you, Mark, offhand. I don't remember exactly what it stands for. It is fairly lengthy. The Masjid Al-Latif and Interfaith Community Center. Masjid is the Arabic saying of mosque, or the Arabic word for mosque. So we'll talk to Will here when he gets here about the ongoing clean-out and remodel in this house that was trashed by the tenants that had previously occupied it. It's been a major undertaking over the last week, so we'll get an update from him. And there's a big announcement about the fundraising goals that they're just under, I think, about 50% of the way to their goal, and there's a pretty big announcement we're going to make a little bit later on here tonight. So look forward to that, and we'll, of course, talk to you about whatever's on your mind. For those of you just tuning in, it's Ian and Mark in the studio tonight on a Sunday night edition of Free Talk Live. We've been talking a lot about Jamie Dimon, the CEO of Chase Bank, JP Morgan Chase Bank, who has gone on the attack in the media now more than once about Bitcoin. Before, you could have passed it off as just him answering a question and, he doesn't like Bitcoin. This was over a week ago when he had first made headlines. But since then, others have interviewed him about Bitcoin.
But they keep asking him, too. It's not like he's bringing up Bitcoin. He understands the danger of Bitcoin, and the danger of him talking about it makes people talk about it more.
Right.
People talking about it is bad for him. I tend to think he wishes this would go away.
But he's still granting the interviews.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. So we'll play more of that. There's a little bit more with his interview with CNBC in New Delhi. But first, we've got Jay Noon on the line on the amp lines. Hey, Jay Noon.
Hey, guys. So I was listening, and
point where he says there's a difference between a fiat currency that's backed up by government and not backed up by government. I think I would like to paraphrase Jamie Dimon and say there's a difference between a fiat currency that's backed up by a military that will drop bombs anywhere you may try to run from them, and a government that doesn't really have a military, like, let's say, Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as we know, when countries throughout history are like, well, we don't like the U.S. dollar because they can just create them out of thin air, and we want to deal directly with the French, for example, in the case of Saddam Hussein in Iraq. Well, then there's sanctions, and then, well, if sanctions don't scare them enough, or there already was sanctions or whatever, they just go say they're terrorists and just bomb them back into the Stone Age, to where if you're like, nah, I don't want to take Venezuelan bolivars, well, Venezuela can't do anything about it, right? But the U.S.
Yeah, that's a great point, that some governments' monies are backed by the force of the state, the military and police, who will point guns at people and force people to accept it.
I think that all government fiat currencies are backed to some extent by the force of their governments.
Within their country.
Within their country.
Yeah.
Outside of their country, the United States government projects military force like no other nation does. And I think you make a great point, Jay, and I'd like to expound on it just a little bit. And that is that one of the reasons that I'm into Bitcoin and a lot of early adopters of Bitcoin is that Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, these sorts of things, if they become effectively the world's reserve currency, then governments will no longer have the ability, the United States government specifically we can use in this example, will no longer have the ability to just create money out of thin air, buy weapons of war, and then use them.
It's a huge game changer.
In the 1940s, when World War II was going on, they said buy war bonds. When George Bush invaded Iraq, and reporters asked, what can the American people do to support them? He said, go shopping. That is a tremendous difference. Something dramatically changed between 1940 and 2003. And I would recommend you Google the Bretton Woods Accord if you want to find out what that was.
Jay?
And I couldn't agree more, guys. That's all I had to
Good
say
call,
for right
man.
now, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, brother. Hey, thanks for the call tonight. Jay Noon, actually, one of the folks who's going to be coming out to work on the mosque we were discussing earlier, and we will talk more about coming up. But a little more from Jamie Dimon, the J.P. Morgan Chase Chief Executive Officer, on the attack against Bitcoin in a CNBC TV18 New Delhi interview. Let's continue.
You say, what is the problem we're trying to solve? And so again, I'm not against the technology, but creating money out of thin air without having a government backing is very different than creating money having a government backing.
So generally, you think
and like I said, the other is it's not unlimited. So Bitcoin has that, no more than 21 million. So maybe that kind of does something there. But there's Ethereum, there are ICOs, there are cryptocurrencies everywhere. It's creating something out of nothing that, to me is worth nothing.
Well, now let's see. Now, to Jamie Dimon, $100 billion may be nothing. I mean, to him, he might be able to, go to the bathroom in a $100 million bathroom, and that's what he thinks about $100 billion or $100 million. Like, it's no big deal to him. But to the average person, $100 billion is an unfathomable amount of money. And right now, the cryptocurrency world has about $130 billion worth of value.
No, you are using the U.S. dollar to denominate this cryptocurrency world.
Correct. I say right now.
Yeah, you're not talking about crypto. In crypto, you're talking about in dollars.
Because that's the way people will understand it.
That's the way people understand that the dollar is still the dominant currency.
If I tell you that there are 16 million bitcoins in existence,
right, it's useless
that
information.
doesn't mean anything unless you know what the value of those bitcoins are. And today it's different than what it will be tomorrow than what it was yesterday.
And I think it's worth pointing out that a dollar is worth about a 4,000th of a bitcoin.
That's right.
It went from being worth 4 bitcoins to 4,000ths of a bitcoin in about 7 years.
Correct.
So that shows what a catastrophe, what a downward spiral this currency that Jamie Dimon's saying is worth something. When a government runs, when a company runs a funding phase and gets $20 million US dollars, Jamie Dimon isn't going to poo-poo that. He's going to say that's great. Well, is all you've got to do to run that same funding operation is to get $4 20 million, 4,000, 40,000, I don't know, Bitcoins, which is a heck of a lot less.
Mm-hmm. So let me go on here with his remaining comments from CNBC.
Then badly. Is that a fear?
It will end badly, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll end when people lose a lot of money, the government's going to come down, when people think they use it as an investment, or it becomes too big, where governments say, we want to control it now. And I've had many people say, well, how can you control Bitcoin? It's very simple. If I sit there in this room, if you buy or sell a Bitcoin, if you bet to buy and sell Bitcoin, if you or bet anything where I'm going to put you in jail, it's over. And so watch what's going to happen in China. It doesn't mean people won't do it. It just means it'll be a black market, which is a whole different...
Okay, so he's right that if you outlaw Bitcoin, that it won't go away. So he is at the very least acknowledging that there will be a black market in Bitcoin if it is outlawed. But he is right that if the government does do a complete Bitcoin crackdown, making it illegal to buy, spend, sell, hold or whatever Bitcoin, to do anything with Bitcoin, then that could put a dampener on the popular acceptance of Bitcoin. Of course, on the other hand, there are people within governments who have already sort of adopted Bitcoin. Here in New Hampshire, there are state senators and state representatives who are already into Bitcoin. They are some of the people who were instrumental in helping New Hampshire pass the very first ever Bitcoin protection bill, which is a term I came up with because it's basically what it does. It is the opposite of New York's BitLicense, which we were arguing about earlier tonight. New Hampshire's Bitcoin bill, which passed this year, it undoes some damage that was done previously, because there was a bill that added Bitcoin or cryptocurrency to the money transmitter statutes back in 2015.
With the intention of protecting Bitcoin, but it failed.
But it got amended to...
Government solutions tend to be bad solutions.
Yeah, it ended up getting amended to be the opposite of the intended purpose of back in 2015. So the 2017 bill this year undid that and went a step further. Not only did it undo the changes that were made, but it also made it so that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency only related businesses, so let's say an exchange that doesn't accept fiat, but it does crypto only, those companies would not be considered money transmitters under this legislation that passed and was signed by the governor this year. So it does basically the opposite of what New York State is doing. So you're going to have different government responses. China's response is going to be different from the U.S. federal government. It's going to be different from New Hampshire, and we're going to keep an eye on all of it. More coming up here. You bring up anything on Free Talk Live. If you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware, let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
If you want to promote your business, organization, website, or club, radio's a great way to reach a lot of people. And because the ads are low cost, you can reach them a lot more often. Repetition builds reputation, and ads with audio are just more convincing than print or digital. If you need local people, please contact this station. If you can sell nationally, I'd love to help. Free Talk Live is nationally syndicated on more than 170 radio stations, and we have a large and loyal podcast audience. Check out our packages at advertise.freetalklive.com. If you need something custom, contact me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free and join us on the radio. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight on this live Sunday edition, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also, if you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, don't listen to Jamie Dimon. Join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy. Fees are low, transactions are quick, and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. And unlike JP Morgan and their ilk, Dash is decentralized. It's run by users like you who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. With Dash, you can actually have a say in how this operation moves forward, unlike the big banks. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why.
Also, we have a proposal coming for the next quarter for Dash coming up at dashcentral.org.
We do.
Free Talk Live.
This is the place where the people who would like to take a piece of the kitty, the promotional kitty, where they've been pooling mining funds. 10% of the mining funds from the Dash mining goes into this kitty, and then different people who may or may necessarily not be big players in Dash. You can be a small fish, and you can make a proposal to do something with that Dash, whether it's put it onto a race car or buy advertising on Free Talk Live or whatever. So what's the proposal?
The proposal is for us. It's 3 months worth of advertising. I like to keep it the quarterly. That way I don't have to put these proposals in monthly. So they pay us out quarterly. If for whatever reason the value of Dash goes down in that amount of time, we eat the cost. If it goes up in that amount of time, I'll toss in an extra month just to be kind. But if it goes up beyond that, the commensurate with the month, yay us. But you'll see me in 4 months asking for more. It's at this point we're more than half. We got more than half the votes we need. That's with no with no.
Because last time you made a proposal, originally it kind of got shot down.
Yeah, I did it. I did it wrong.
You tried for a whole year, though.
Well, I believe that advertising should be done for a year to know what.
Sure, but you're a sales professional and you're trying to advertise. You're trying to promote this idea to a bunch of people that don't know anything about sales, right? The Dashers.
Yeah. By the way, if you tell your customers they're ignorant, it generally goes poorly. Just so you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's true. I wanted to keep the thing going. I learned that for their system, it's better to enter it monthly rather than just sort of keeping an ongoing 12-month commitment. And it's going to pass. It looks like it's going to pass. But please, if you've got a node. If you're a node master node holder, go there and vote for us at dashcentral.org.
All right, cool. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. You can bring up what you want. John is in North Carolina, listening in Asheville to WWNC. Hello, John.
Hey, I wanted to bring up the concept of becoming cyborgs.
Okay, sure.
Excellent.
There are slowly growing numbers of people that are getting the RFID technology implanted in their hands to unlock their cars, or at least considering it.
There's people doing that,
There's amputees that... Say again?
There's people doing that, yeah.
And the people at certain workplaces who are getting RFID implemented so they can open doors, at the workplace.
And don't forget spectacles. I mean, even hooks for hands. I mean, these are early on sort of,
pacemakers.
Right, pacemakers, artificial hearts. I would go so far as to say the cell phone is a second brain.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I remember being one of the last people in my social circles who finally caved and got a cell phone because I was basically being socially ostracized for no one wanted to call my landline.
Yeah.
So, and at this point in history, I've never sent a text message or had a smartphone.
Wow.
I send email and I surf the web from a landline computer. But so with cybernetic technology, I've been thinking about what's going to happen when hardly anyone wants anything to do with me if I'm unable to telepathically be aware of what they're feeling through the web of our consciousness, if it gets that far.
I understand, and I think that you'll find the vast majority of people just kind of sign up, for this whole singularity thing. But I think there'll be some holdouts. I think they'll probably be religious usually in nature, but I think there'll be holdouts that are like, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be. And
like the people who won't use the automated checkout at the grocery store.
Maybe that, but I mean, I think that to some extent that's about convenience, and plus it's hard to find the vegetables on there, and if you're buying a box of wine or whatever, then you can't get ID'd.
People have different reasons for it, but there's a certain percentage of the the customer base that wants to have that interaction with a human being. There's also a percentage that doesn't want to have an interaction with a human being.
Well, yeah, there's nothing I like better than some lackluster customer service from a girl.
Well, some
in her
people,
late
I know
teens
you're
that
not one of those
doesn't
people.
have,
You're not one. You're not
eye
one
contact with me.
Yeah, but you're not one of those people. There have been stores who've put in the automated checkouts and then only to remove them later when they got so much pushback from their customers.
That isn't going to happen anymore.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, it had happened in the past.
Sure.
Anyway, go ahead, John.
This is like surgically meshing your flesh with circuits and stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah, nanomachines too.
Yeah, in your body, and getting infections possibly. I mean, they'd have to come up with some way that would maybe 3D printed through cells or...
Oh, they're going to come up with it, and they're going to make it. The idea is that it would prevent you from getting infections, right? Like having these little nano guys running around your blood, your veins, and shooting down the bad guys, sort of thing.
What point would the technology have to get to before either you or Mark would just be like, yeah, I've got a circuit in my brain that
Mark's already signed up to have his head cut off when he dies and frozen in a vat of something.
Yeah, it's at alcor.org.
So he's already on board with this stuff.
Mention me if you go and sign up. So I get a free 6
months.
No,
but you do ask a good question.
I'm on board.
At what point? Yeah, but the technology is going to be rudimentary in the beginning, right? So do you wait until like right now? I mean, virtual reality, for instance, looks really cool. I mean, I've not actually used a real one of the expensive virtual reality headsets, but I've gotten the Google Cardboard thing. I've slipped a phone in it, and I've looked around at some tech demos, and that's pretty cool. I could imagine that looking at an Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive is even more amazing. And if you watch the React channel on YouTube, watching the reactors and how they experience this virtual reality is absolutely it's amazing to behold. Not even experiencing it yourself, just watching someone else do it is pretty interesting. But would I want to go out, even as an occasional gamer? First of all, I don't game often enough to make it worthwhile, but I do like technology, and I'm very interested in this technology. But I know better than to buy Generation 1 of virtual reality. Even Generation 2 is still going to be clunky. There's going to be a bunch of wires hanging off, as there are right now. Like, there's wires all over these things, and they're big and they're heavy. And, Generation 3, Generation 4, Generation 5, you're going to see the size of the headsets are going to shrink. They're going to get lighter. They're going to probably use more like Bluetooth rather than wires and other things like that. And it's going to get a whole lot cheaper over time. So I don't think I would be the initial adopter of whatever augment your body with technology. But
I tend to be right about Gen 2. I was, I had one of the first palm-oriented phones out there to hold all the addresses.
Palm Pilot?
Yeah. Well, it was a
BlackBerry.
Palm phone. It was a Trio.
Okay.
I think it was before the Trio. Anyway, I don't know. It was before the BlackBerry and all these things. So I was pretty early adopter, but I would want to see. I'd want to see somebody have this stuff and running around with the stuff in their head for a little while.
For a little while, yeah. If you want, John, we'll give you a chance to respond. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealestate.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
We got to teach Will how to use the cough button. Sorry. we haven't taught him that yet. So, Will Coley joining Ian and Mark in the studio as promised from the Muslims for Liberty, Muslims, the number 4 liberty.org. He and his family have made the move to New Hampshire as part of the ongoing New Hampshire freedom migration, and that happened about a week ago, Will. It was last Sunday that you guys arrived here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, your new home at a place that was not quite ready for a move-in.
No, yeah, you could say that. It would be probably the understatement of the year, if not the decade.
It's been a real process, and when you got here on Sunday, we'd already been cracking away at moving a bunch of junk out of this house because the tenants that were in there were there until Thursday night, and we got in there the very next day and just started moving and unloading. And
I don't even want to think about what it looked like before I got there. It looked that bad when I showed up on Sunday.
I got to see it before you got to see it. It was a disaster.
Did you actually go in there?
I went with you.
Okay.
And Ian, saw it long before I saw it.
Yeah.
And it had to have been a catastrophe.
It was. I mean, I don't want to focus on how bad it was because it was bad. But we've been pulling a lot of junk out of there. It literally took the entire week. Different people were doing different things at the same time, but me and a few others were working on the actual clean out of just getting stuff out so we could then actually do cleaning.
I smell cat urine still.
Oh, God.
Just sitting here in the studio, I still smell. I think my boots smell like it. Is what the problem.
You
all
guys
the
have been
scrubbing
floors,
today.
and you even had a gubernatorial candidate, Gilletta Jarvis, came out. She's going to be hopefully the Libertarian candidate for governor here in 2018. She was out on her hands and knees scrubbing those floors today.
And her son both. He was inside. Well, they helped us redo the floors in the area where we're going to put the homeless warming center. That's now like the fourth time for the front room and the 5th time for the other room.
Is anybody like an expert on how you actually get cat urine out of wood? Because I imagine that's kind of difficult.
I've heard urine. I've heard that
urine will counter spray more
vinegar,
urine over top of it.
I've heard vinegar will help.
You've been working so long, your mind's just fried.
It is. Oh my Lord, dude!
It's got urine on the brain.
I can smell it. I swear it's on my boots. But yeah, vinegar. I've heard. What we're doing is I have a $75 bottle of Atar el Kaba, which is like this really high dollar oil-based perfume that comes from Dubai. I won it a couple years ago as an award, but I don't really wear it. So what we've done is we've
not
taken
perfume wearer, gotcha.
We've taken. Well, I am just not this one.
Okay,
it's a little strong for my taste, which is why we mixed it with Dawn dish detergent and water and scrubbed the floors of the whole place today.
Oh, cool!
How'd that work?
You know what? All I can smell is Atar el Kaba now. At least until tomorrow, we'll go in there and we'll give it the sniff test, and hopefully
see if it's overtaken.
Overtaking, yeah. And they did the inside too, so they were scrubbing the floors. They scrubbed the floors inside in the area that the prayer space is going to be in, and they started working on scrubbing baseboards and stuff like that with this oil-based washing solution that I made, so that like all that smell of where animals had sprayed the walls and stuff hopefully will be counteracting that with this concoction that
luckily
I've made.
Yeah, luckily there were piles of clothes that the animals made most of their mess in on the inside, at least. But it's been a bit of a process getting it all cleaned up. There's been a large group of folks. How many? You've been there every day. I've been kind of off and on, throughout the last week. But how many people would you estimate have come to assist as volunteers in this process? There have been a couple paid help, but mostly volunteers.
Yeah, well, we've got 2 paid help that I know of, and then at least yesterday was the exception. It's kind of funny. I really expected us to have a really big turnout because it was Saturday, and it ended up being just me and my wife, who basically spent the whole day chasing the kids around while I painted my little self to death.
Yeah.
But every other day, it's been at least 2, if not 4.
If not 4.
Most of them traveling from outside of the Keene area. Some of them from Seacoast. Some of them from Manchester.
Some from Keene.
Some from Keene.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, people driving. Gilletta lives like 20 miles south of Manchester, so
yeah, southeast. Yeah.
We've had just from all over the state.
Tremendous, outpouring
yeah.
of people who are giving of their time, their energy into a project that
I have a family that are coming this weekend. A family of same size as mine.
Next weekend?
This coming weekend.
Okay,
next
right.
weekend.
Yeah.
They should be here Saturday. From Connecticut. They're driving up from Hartford.
Were these the friends you stayed with down in Connecticut before you came here?
And they're a family of children. They're all older kids. You know, like they have son.
They might actually be useful.
They can swing a hammer.
One who's a senior in high school. One is already graduated high school. Another one is like a freshman. So like they have a pretty sizable volunteer force. Just them.
Just the riding in the minivan.
Yeah. So and they're supposed to be coming up and giving us a hand next weekend.
Cool.
We that's one thing we really need, because like right now we're finally in a place where we could be doing 2 or 3 jobs at one time if I had the volunteers available to do so. Before we were all just kind of stuck in that homeless area. But it needed it. You know, there was a lot of cleaning, a lot of painting, a lot of prepping and priming and stuff that needed to be done out there. So that space is just about ready, but I could put somebody to work in 2 different rooms on top of me finishing up that homeless room shelter, and then
what is the homeless room shelter? I'm not familiar.
Well, here, the homeless warming center is it's a space that's about 30 feet long and about 10 feet wide.
Okay,
and it's the porch right now.
Yeah, it's a front porch that's got glass windows all the way around it. It has a heater, so it's an enclosed space. It's like a room.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to do is we're going to offer hot tea and hot coffee, a place to warm up during the colder months of the year for local homeless to just come in, kind of warm up a little bit, get something warm in their stomach.
Read the newspaper classified section.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll have a resume center where we'll have a couple of old desktops and some printers that I brought with me. And you can write or print out your resume for free while you're there as a way to help these people, you know, further their, you know, improving their plight in life and help them find a job.
As long as they don't pee in the corners too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
New Hampshire, people go out and find a tree.
One of the ideas we also had is that, you know, you hear the whole NIMBY thing a lot, you know, like
not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard. So people want you to help the homeless, but they don't want you to do it close to where they live.
They don't want to see it.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about this particular, the location of your mosque is it's not really in anybody's backyard.
Not really. There are some neighbors living next door. There's a welfare house immediately next door.
How can they complain?
They can't really.
Right. Well, there are a couple of businesses close by as well. And what my thought is, you know, the mosque will be bringing in money, and we don't have a mortgage that we have to worry about. So why not in the colder months use some of that money and give gifts to homeless people for, hey, man, the 101, it just snowed, and the 101 needs to be shoveled out.
The next door business, Route 101 deals.
Business. So
101 local deal or local goods.
Right over there is a snow shovel. You go snow shovel that for me and make it look nice, and I will give you a gift of $25. And then they go over and they take care of, and you know, to me that will make local businesses more likely to be happy about the fact that we're serving the homeless close to them, is because we hope to figure out a way to make our service a service to local businesses as well. Mm-hmm. So when it's really cold and snowy, hey man, I've got labor right here. These people are here. They, you know, especially, you know, I've done a lot of work with homeless groups, like Project Downtown and stuff like that. When I lived in Florida, I ran a Project Downtown chapter. And a lot of those folks, like, they're really motivated. And if you were like, hey man, I got $25 if you'll just knock that out over there for me, and you're the person who's providing them with a donut and a hot cup of coffee to fill their stomach, and you're talking to them like they're a human being,
Yep.
instead of like a piece of garbage that you step over in the street, those people are so motivated to try to do something to like pay you back that I don't see any issue with us being able to convince the people we're helping to kind of pay it forward and pass that on.
And that's just part of the vision, the homeless aspect, the warming center. There's also...
that's just step one. We have a lot more that we kind of have in the whole broader spectrum.
We'll talk more about that coming up here with Will Coley, who is also the host of The Call to Freedom, which is coming back to the air starting tonight on LRN.FM. More coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
Over 60% of employers are now checking online amateur pornography of potential job candidates. Is it fair to base hiring decisions on an applicant's online porn?
No, this is not fair at all. For instance, if there's a red tube video of my girlfriend slapping me and choking me and riding me, that shouldn't be an indication that I'm going to lack leadership in a work situation.
Yeah, but Duncan, it's going to be hard to convince an employer who's masturbating to that video otherwise.
Exactly. My potential employer might see all those videos of my husband tying me up and having his way with me, and then they're going to think that I'm not going to be assertive enough for the job.
I mean, if you don't want to jeopardize the content of your porn, you can always shoot from the eyes down.
Oh, but that's not the same if you cover the eyes. That's where the innocence is.
So am I supposed to leave an orgy just because someone shows up with a camera?
No one's saying you should leave an orgy.
Right. So
it's more complicated.
So now, if I go to a party, I wear something like this in case that situation comes up again.
I like that. I actually shoot my porn in sepia tone and make it look old-timey, so if people see it, they'll think it's my grandfather and not me.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Moments remain. We might be able to get you in here if you dial in now. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you got a question for our special guest here, Will Coley, who is with us from the MALIC Center, or the soon-to-be MALIC Center. It is in production, under construction as we speak. The doors will be opening at some point within the next several weeks. We're thinking maybe end of October, early November, somewhere in that range. It's going to be New Hampshire's very first. Although there are a couple that are competing to open across the state, we believe the MALIC Center will be the first ever full-time mosque in New Hampshire, which is sort of the main thrust of what it was. And as I pointed out in my blog post that I made today at freekeen.com announcing how things have been going with this ongoing project, as I pointed out, that if you had just come to me back in July, as you did, and say, hey, do you guys have does Shire Free Church have any property available in Keene? We want to open up a mosque. That alone would have been enough for me to have been like, heck yeah, come on up. Because I think that having you, who you are very well schooled in Islamic studies and such, and you're a very good communicator of those ideas. And I think you alone, just by your participation on Free Talk Live doing Ask a Muslim segments where people have called in and hit you with all these hard questions that they hear from the talking heads on the news television shows that are just full of misinformation, and having you correct a lot of that misinformation, I think that does a lot to increase peace and mutual understanding between different religions. So just to have you come here and be a Muslim and run a mosque would have been enough. But your vision for the MALIC Center is much larger than that. It includes not only a full-time mosque, which is like 5 prayers a day throughout, all around the clock, but it also includes the ability for other area, let's say, lesser religions like the Quakers that they don't have more than what, Mark? I've been to the meetings. There's, half a dozen people?
4 this morning.
Yeah. So there are not a whole lot of folks that are backing up that congregation, if you will. They need a place to meet, and they've been renting like the YMCA prior to their current place.
We're currently at the Mindfulness Center.
The Buddhists.
And they tend to like that, yeah.
Yep. But, giving those folks an option so other religions could also use this place, and maybe even other, people in the community.
We're not renting the space.
Yeah.
This isn't like you want to use it Sunday at $75.
You just got to clean it up after you're done, right?
Yeah. If you want to use the space, let us know. Come use the space. There's a donation slot by the door. If you want to leave a donation, please do. If you don't, thank you for coming and using our space.
Yeah, and that's the fact that it's going to be an interfaith space as well. I thought was really cool because the Shire Free Church, which is the organization that is contributing the property to this project, is an interfaith peace church. So whether you're Muslim or Christian or pantheist, as I am, you're welcome in the Shire Free Church as long as you are an advocate of peace.
Yeah, and that was part of my inspiration for doing it this way. Was this is an organization, Shire Free Church, that is devoted to interfaith work, and they gave us a gift. And my response to that was, okay, we've been given this gift. Why not do that for other groups? Why not gift this space? Why not make this space into a beautiful place for people to come and worship, and then gift it to others in the same way it's been gifted to us? And kind of, again, that whole idea of like paying it forward, not, taking this great gift that's been giving us and saying, okay, how can we do the same thing that's been done for us for other people? And say, okay, is there an Orthodox Jewish community here? Yeah? Okay, guys, I know there's only a half a dozen of you probably. Come Saturdays. Come have your Shabbat in our space. We'll even install an extra oven so that you can have an oven just for the Orthodox community to use, so you're not worried about kosher issues. Like, we'll go that far. We'll spend $120 or $200 on a new stove. I'm looking at one right now, brand new, never been used, to buy, to put in, so that this can be there for other communities. And it's not just, to me, it's more than a mosque. It's more than a masjid. It's more than just a place for Muslims to come and pray. It's a place for us to come and establish ourselves as harbingers of justice, of harbingers of this idea of pluralism. And, Muslims were the original Abrahamic faith that pushed this idea, and it's time that we got back to establishing ourselves as the standard bearers in that respect, and not the ones who are bringing up the rear as we have for the last century.
When you say the Muslims had pushed an idea, what idea?
Pluralism. Pluralism. It was Muslims were the first religion that I know of that actually advocated the concept of pluralism.
And what is that?
Other religions, not only that other religions have a right to exist, but that they should be respected.
That they can coexist peacefully.
Yes,
in
that
the
they
same...
should coexist in the same space.
Right.
And instead of being the standard bearers in that area, Muslims are way back in the back now. And I think that part of the MALIC Center is reestablishing that, at least in a small place, in a small way, in our own little community right here in New Hampshire.
And what I love is that it's already started. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's what I focused on in the article over at freekeen.com, is
beautiful.
the interfaith effort of the cleanup operation. So the intention of the MALIC Center is to bring faiths together and also be a mosque. And we've already got people who are Christians, multiple Christians, different types. One calls himself an agnostic Christian. Another one is just an agnostic. There are other Christians of different types who've come in there.
Spiritualists. We've had atheists.
The main construction guy there is an atheist. And so a wide variety. I'm a pan-atheist. So we've got a wide variety of people who've been helping out with this. And I think that that's a good start. You know, we're already
Liberty
planting
Ecclesia,
good seeds.
they're talking about sometime next week. Liberty Ecclesia is going to come out, so that's
a former president of the Free State Project, Aaron Swearingen.
Yes, and a local church here in Keene.
So I love it. I love it.
Everybody I've talked to who's sort of outside the Liberty community that hears about the mosque moving in is very excited.
Yeah.
I think that to some extent you could probably have huge crews there if we were able to reach the larger community. But I think it's better to just sort of open up and then offer the great services that you're going to offer.
So one of the other things
is going to be our gift to the. We want this. Like, I have an $8,000 donation that has been raised by people that live here in Keene that is sitting there, and I know it. It's just sitting there, and the guy's like, "You can use this to open the doors." I don't want to use it to open the doors. I want this to be our gift to the Keene community, and then. Now that we've given you the gift, now that we want to expand, now we want to add new things. Now give me that 8,000.
Right,
let's
there's
use
a larger,
that 8,000 to bust the wall down and expand. Or
you've got a vision of what you want beyond this initial start, and we can talk about that later on. But one of the other things that has come up here in the last day was I was inspired by a fundraiser going on out on the Free Coast, where they're raising money for their club, like an activist center out there, and they've done very well. They've raised like over $100,000, and part of that was somebody ponied up some money as matching funds. And what we found here with the fundraiser for instance, the Ugandan orphanage that we've been raising money for, we've had matching funds. In fact, double matching with that one, which has helped people encourage it. It gets people off the fence. It makes them feel like their money's going to go further. And so the Shire Free Church has put forward matching funds because you guys are at about almost 50% of your $11,000 goal. You're just under 50, like around 5,200.
Yeah, we're like $300 from halfway.
Yeah. So and there's 6 days left, and the launchgood.com/Malic Center is the URL. LaunchGood has extended and extended and extended, but the pace of donations hasn't been picking up.
No.
So I'm thinking
basically it stopped about 3 days before we left. And that's about it.
So
it's stalled out.
And I'm no fundraising guru. I don't particularly consider myself particularly good at it, but I know that matching funds makes a difference for some people. And so I thought, well, I think that the Shire Free Church can do that. Yeah. So ultimately, if you want to contribute to the MALIC Center construction and ongoing, launch project, then your funds will be matched up until we hit the point of the $11,000 goal. And if you want to keep contributing beyond that, I'm sure you'll accept it.
Do.
But the matching funds are there now for the last 50%, basically. So from here on to the end, your contributions are going to be matched at launchgood.com/Malic Center. It's MALICCENTER. You go there. And there are also Bitcoin and Litecoin QR codes on the page. No one's given any Litecoin yet, but Bitcoin has gotten some contributions.
Yeah, serious contributions.
And so if you contribute Bitcoin, we'll match those. If you contribute dollars to the LaunchGood contribution thing, then we'll match that as well, again, up to the point at which we actually hit the $11,000 goal. Yeah. So now you get matching contributions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And thank the guys at the Free Church, all you guys that have been putting not only these matching funds in, but so much more financially to make this place look the way that it needs to make this place a really beautiful space. And like putting us up in a hotel for the last week, and helping keep, my wife happy.
As hard that is a job that no one man can do on his own. I can tell you that.
It really has, it really has taken a community. It took a village to get a couple of libertarians to get out of their home that they trashed, so-called libertarians. So we're out of time for Free Talk Live tonight. If you're tuned to LRN.FM, the Liberty Radio Network, you're going to hear Will in moments relaunching the call to freedom for the very first time from here in Keene. So stay tuned for that.
There for about a month.
If you're there, and we'll continue tomorrow. Meantime, at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 23rd, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.99 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,297 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,609. Antiwar.com reports the increasingly aggressive police crackdown on the Catalonian referendum is taking a lot more police. Spain reported some 5,000 national police are already based there, and 3,000 to 4,000 more have been reported to have arrived. An unusual aspect of this is that 3 ferries have been bringing police into the city of Barcelona en masse, and all are festooned with Looney Tunes characters, part of a promotion being run by the company that owns the ferries. The growing police presence and aggressive crackdowns are fueling mounting protest among the Catalan population, with thousands taking to the streets of Barcelona and dock workers refusing to provide services to the police staying on the ferries. The Catalan secession referendum is scheduled for October 1st, and while police have been arresting officials involved, top regional officials say the vote will go on as scheduled. The Spanish government has responded with more and more police. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the American Civil Liberties Union on Friday filed a lawsuit against the city of St. Louis for what it described as the unconstitutional treatment of people protesting the acquittal of a police officer who fatally shot a motorist. The ACLU of Missouri accused the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department of misconduct, using chemical weapons, interfering with video of police activities, and violating due process. The organization in particular took issue with officers' use of the controversial crowd control technique known as kettling, in which police police close in on protesters from all sides, preventing them from leaving an area before arresting them. Protesters said the St. Louis police used this technique Sunday night, the third night of protest of the acquittal of former officer Jason Stockley, who fatally shot Andrew Lamar Smith in December 2011. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reported police boxed in and arrested about 100 people in a downtown intersection, including some residents walking home and not involved in the protest, members of the media, and legal observers. Post-Dispatch reporter Mike Falk was one of those arrested. He said police yelled at him to move back, before officers knocked him to the ground. He said a foot pushed his head into the pavement before an officer used pepper spray on his face. He was arrested and released on $50 bond the next day. Another woman who was arrested said the officers were advancing on the crowd, banging their batons on the ground. She said when we tried to walk one way, they came at us with pepper spray and batons and told us to go the other, but there was no other place for us to go. She said that though she was not treated roughly by the officers, others were. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. Reuters reports corporate donations for Hurricanes Harvey and Irma relief funds totaled nearly $225 million by Friday, and pledges continued to be made, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Automakers and energy companies, some of them affected by the most powerful storm to hit Texas's Gulf Coast in 50 years, are among the prominent corporate donors. Texas, the biggest oil-producing state, was pummeled by Harvey when it made landfall as a powerful Category 4 hurricane and proceeded to dump more than 50 inches of rain on the Houston area. Bailey Jacobs, a spokeswoman for the Chamber of Commerce Foundation, said in all around 90 businesses have donated at least $1 million each. Some companies have donated to the Rebuild Texas Fund, started by computer magnate Michael Dell in collaboration with One Star Foundation. It received pledges of $68.6 million as of Friday, according to its website. The fund aims to raise $100 million to rebuild communities in Texas affected by Hurricane Harvey. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Yesterday, two groups of men shot at each other near Bagram Base, where I am. Today, the soldiers are happy about some of the men dying and sad about other men dying. Sergeant First Class Aaron Tomlin is only sad about 4 of the dead people.
It's a long, tough day here. We lost 4 good men.
No, 27 men died. 4 American soldiers and 23 Taliban soldiers. You said that 4 soldiers die and it makes you sad. But you said when Taliban soldiers die, it does not make you sad. I asked Base Commander David Hawkins to make it make sense.
The last thing we resort to is hurting anyone. But you have to understand, it's our job to keep the American people safe from our enemies. And sometimes that includes...
So if you kill your enemies at your job, it is not sad.
Well...
What if I killed my enemy Ryan at my job? It would not be sad?
No, you shouldn't do that.
But he is rude to me. He steals my yogurts. He makes fun of the way I talk.
Look. Only soldiers can kill without getting in trouble.
Okay. Are you going to kill Ryan?
No.
It does not make sense.
This is the Onion News Network.
All right, good evening and welcome here to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. We are back live again tonight from a whole new location. We are no longer in the Secret Liberty Bunker nestled in the beautiful Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee. No, we sold the bunker to Mr. Tom and we moved to New Hampshire. We are now broadcasting live from LRN Studios here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, about 2 miles from the property that we are taking over to open the new MALIC Center, Masjid Al-Latif and Interfaith Community Center. We've been working on that for a few weeks. That's why I've been gone. I've been on the road. I left my home September the 7th, came up to Pennsylvania. We did the In the Fed block party there in Pennsylvania, and then we went on to Connecticut, stayed in Connecticut for a few days, moved from there on to Massachusetts, and then from there here to Keene, New Hampshire. And I am joined by my normal co-host, as always.